this is our final episode of the year. 'Cause next time we record, I'm thinking we will be in 2022, or at least the next time an episode comes out. So final episode of 2021, episode 95. I'm Tim here with Kyle. Merry Christmas. Good evening.
Hello. Merry Christmas. Good evening.
Daniel.
Hello. Well, actually, no. My name's not Cloud Strife. All right.
Yeah.
Sir, my name is Cloud Strife.
Striking resemblance between the two of you. And Jeff.
Hello. Salutations. Shut up, Dan.
Some very upset lady behind you in the image you've selected.
Yeah.
You look like.
Well, you could argue it would be more than one lady.
Spoiler.
Not really spoilers. If you look hard, you see other faces.
I think I remember that image. There was an ad for some kind of menopause medication. I think that's what that is.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. I think it's transition.
That's
she's
what the movie's
transitioning.
a metaphor about.
It's a metaphor for that.
She's transitioning.
So, in case you're just listening, that is the one really cool scene from The Matrix Resurrection. We will talk about that in a little bit. But before we talk about stuff we're playing, stuff we're watching, we're going to have our non-gaming things of the year awards. So I think right now, at least, the plan is next week for us to dive into our game of the year debates. We'll start ranking things based on a variety of different categories. And then sometime either the middle or end of January, depending on how much we need to stretch, all these discussions out. Sometime in January, we'll hit the best game of the year. But before we do all that stuff, this is where we get to just pick our own categories. I shouldn't say it can't be gaming related. It can't be anything that we would normally discuss in a gaming debate episode. So no best graphics, no best game. If it's going to be gaming related, I hope it's unique somehow.
Like worst, something we don't talk about, like worst game or something like that.
Or if you really want to, you could do that. Or it could be like
most annoying, pretentious game,
most, but I kept playing.
Exactly.
Like best game where you take things out of boxes.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is obviously unpacking. That's obviously.
I mean that feels like creating a category to let that game win, but I'm down for that. I'm all.
Exactly. It's literally just creating a category for that one.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tim. There's a lot of games this year. Just
a lot of boxing games, but not the kind of boxing you're thinking.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to kick things off with our non-gaming things of the year awards because I put together a couple of different categories. One is actually just I picked movies, and I thought, well, I want to list my favorite movies that I watched with my kids, and then favorite movies I would never watch with my kids, and then so I kind of have a couple of those movie type categories, and I tried to pick some other non-entertainment categories, but that was kind of hard to come up with. So it's mostly entertainment, it's mostly music, TV shows, movies.
Yeah.
So here you go, guys. Here's how I'm going to do it. You do it however you want. This show. Each of your categories are your own. I'm going to do it like here are the nominees, and then announce the winner. So I'm not going to necessarily give you my 1, 2, 3, 4. It's more of here's the 3 or 4 or so that I've nominated, and then here's the winner. All right. So here we go. First category for my non-gaming things of the year. Top toddler shows that I have been forced to watch this year.
Good.
I'm excied to hear.
We do need a list for this, honestly.
Here we go.
We need the adult perspective on this.
Here are the nominees in alphabetical order. Blippi on YouTube, and also on Amazon Prime, we've discovered. So Blippi. Bluey, a little bit of a theme there, right?
Familiar with Bluey, actually. I know.
On Disney Plus, maybe on other platforms, so that's where we watch it. Or Stinky and Dirty on Amazon Prime.
Is that just a description, or is that the title?
One of the characters is a garbage truck. The other one is a backhoe. I'll let you decide who is who.
Tim, you know who's the real backhoe, and that's Derek. Am I right?
I don't know what that means, but I kind of know what that means. And yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. So those are the nominees, and the winner is Bluey by a mile. The best. It's this Australian or it might be New Zealand. It actually has moments where the parent who's dozing off on the couch while the kids have this show on kind of sits up like, that was pretty funny. Like, that was kind of a funny joke they did. Like, it's one of those toddler shows that's actually entertaining. Blippi makes me want to just jump off the highest point that I can find. And
which you can find one actually pretty close to you. So
I could. And Stinky and Dirty is exactly, I mean, it's just a show about a couple of construction trucks just doing their thing.
That feels racist. I don't know why, it just does.
I didn't think that at all until you said
that. It feels something.
All right, so there you go. There's our first non-gaming thing of the year category and winner. Congratulations, Bluey. Your statue is in the mail.
Someone's don't know if I give it to Bluey.
Who sent us this statue? What is this?
I don't know if
all right,
deserve it, but...
I'll throw it out there. Who else wants to give us a category and either ranking list or nominees and winner, however you want to do it.
I only did 3 lists. Did anybody do as many as I think Tim might have done the most?
Well, I have 2 genuine lists, and then 1 is a snarky one.
Oh, I have a snarky one for sure.
Okay.
Dan, let's start with your snarky one.
Okay. You know what? Let me just put away my sword before somebody gets hurt. All right.
Before you chop your head off by
Probably you.
accident.
Yep, Dan just killed himself on accident. Oh my god.
Oh
Wow,
my
we got that
god! I
live.
can't believe we
got
captured it.
I was trying to butter my toast.
All right. So hold on. Here, let me. I'm trying. That's a huge piece of toast.
Butter the toast.
I have my wife like throw it up in the air.
Oh, she's hurt now too. Damn it. Oh god. Oh no.
Right.
Sorry, honey.
All right. So my snarky one is top 5 movies that aren't actually Christmas movies. 1 through 5 is Die Hard because it's not a real Christmas movie. Continue.
Is there more to that list?
No, it's just that.
You just
Because Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Please. Continue.
Oh, we're doing this.
Oh yeah.
This
Yeah,
entire
I
debate.
honestly don't care enough.
Well, it's not a
about-
debate. It's a bunch of dumb idiots that don't understand genres, and then there's the people that are smart like me. So please continue.
right.
Go.
Let me ask you this, Dan. How come Batman Returns didn't make your list, and why is that also a Christmas movie, just like Die Hard is?
I mean, it's not.
Interesting.
People don't understand what a Christmas movie actually means. They don't understand that it's supposed to be about Christmas. People just think because Christmas is happening or it's in the background or there's things hanging on the wall that are Christmas that it makes it a Christmas movie. That's like if you watch
that should be an interesting list, though. Best movies that are debatable whether they're actual Christmas movies. Because
it's like
because
Home
I think
Alone.
It's a Wonderful Life is a very debatable Christmas movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or
It's
Home
a
Alone.
classic.
Right?
Oh, I
We
don't want
watched
to
it-
kill myself. I'm gonna
We
kill
watched
myself. Oh.
It's a Wonderful Life with my
That's
son.
a Wonderful Life.
My son and my mother-in-law and I, we all watched It's a Wonderful Life. That's a great, like, it still holds up. That's a really good movie.
Of course it does. Yeah, it's great.
But it is, I mean, it's not even, it's Christmas at
Barely.
the end.
Barely anything about Christmas. He shows up and he's like, I didn't kill myself. Hello.
Now you see. Jesus Christ. What is that Sean Connery? Like, what is
No,
that?
that's Jimmy Stewart.
It's
yeah.
Jimmy Store.
Well, so my wife and I have only watched that movie once because she had never seen it, and then we did a few years ago, and she was like, "That was fine. I whatever. People like it. It's fine." But like, is like the messaging or the theme of the movie, or at least later on, kind of about like family and together? No, okay.
I
They
mean, it's
just
about
kind
family. It's about your life. It's about like understanding the value you bring to others and how your life has an impact on those around you.
So what's going on behind in the background, so to speak, is Christmas.
Exactly. So it's
only
like
for the
Die
last,
Hard in a sense.
only for the last like 15 minutes of the movie.
So then
is
it's
it
then that's not really a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's not like the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, which is
Right.
about freaking Christmas.
Right. Exactly. Him
Yeah.
literally becoming Santa Claus. Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
So I'm all right,
All
with
right.
that.
Well, I'm
Dan.
glad
Good
we
list.
resolved that. I'm glad
Good
we
list.
resolved
All right, Jeff, let's go over to your list. I hope it's better than that last one was.
Yeah, I actually have
That was
5.
nice.
I like the idea of awarding my favorite, so I'm gonna do that because that's good. That's fun.
Yeah, pat on the back. Right.
All right, here we go. Here are the 5 nominees for favorite TV shows from 2021 that I feel like nobody's really talked about or seen. And
So
by
wait, hang on.
nobody, I mean,
Did you exclude popular ones then?
no, there are some that you might have heard of, but I feel
Okay.
like in terms of our group, the group for the podcast, which is a great group, by the way, if you're listening to this and haven't joined, you should the group. It's really fun.
Please like, subscribe, and
Smash that like button.
But in terms of that, I feel like every time I bring these shows up, it's just silence. Like it's just I get nothing, no replies or anything. And that's even in my personal life. Like if I bring up shows, they're like, "Oh, what is that?" I don't. Okay, sure. The nominees, because we're doing it this way, the nominees are Blind Spotting. There's a TV show called Blind Spotting. It's based on the movie. Well, I mean, it's like a sequel to the movie. It's really good, and it just came and went, and people just didn't even notice it like they noticed the movie. And then we got Chad, which is a show where what's her name? Naseem Pedrad, I think that's her name. She used to be on SNL and stuff. She plays like a 15-year-old boy named Chad, who's like
from she's on New Girl. She plays Winslet's.
She was on New Girl.
Yeah. That show's. I've seen snippets. That show's weird, or it looks weird.
It's so freaking funny. It is
it?
some of the best cringe humor ever. It's just tops. But yeah, nobody talks about it. It's great. And then I also put in here Dave, because I feel like the show Dave on FX, which is on Hulu, I guess, too. Every time I bring it up to somebody other than Kyle, it's like silence. Like they're like, Dave, what is this? I don't understand. And it's just about a Jewish, really quirky white rapper, who is just completely absurd, and it's just, again, cringe, awkward humor for days. It's great.
But it's a little bit like his music videos. Very like his music
Yeah,
videos
little
are
dicky, it's little
hilarious,
dicky,
and now
yeah.
they turned it and now they turned it into a show. I've seen a little bit of it, and it is really funny. I've
Yeah.
seen it. Like I saw the episode where the kid has a wooden shirt. and,
Oh
like,
yeah.
So like it's just really stupid, but it's really funny. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
there's
made out
some
of
really
wood.
dumb stuff, and then there's some really poignant episodes like later on, and yeah, it just
Yeah.
all. This season 2 especially tells a really much longer story where it's not so episodic, and that's what's aired this year is season 2, and this one's more about how he's always been kind of like selfish throughout the show, but this is him getting selfish to the point where it's damaging his relationships with everybody, even his closest friends, and it's just about him recognizing that. So there's actually an arc. It's a really good freaking season.
Nice.
People go watch it. It's really funny.
Good stuff.
Next nominee is, I don't even know how to say it. I'm pretty sure it's Lupin. That's how the American way you would say it, but
Oh,
it's
Lupin.
a French show. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the anime, right?
No,
Yeah, that's what I
not
always
at all.
think.
Oh, okay.
No, it's like
That's
a heist.
why
It's like a
it's in
heist
this
show.
list.
Lupin the Third, right?
It's like a
It's
like
Yeah,
not
Lupin the Third, right?
it's about like a thief. It's like a heist show.
It is.
Right.
It is. It's a heist show, and it's one of those really slick ones where they do like, I don't know what other word to use other than cute. They do like cute things where you're like, oh, that's really clever. Like, the
Dude,
things,
it
the way
gave
that
me
he
the
gets
same
out of
vibes
situations.
as like Ocean's 11. Like it has
Yeah.
that same charm to it.
Exactly. It's just like that, and he's like a master of disguises and stuff. It's such a fun
I did
show.
not know there was a live action show called Lupin. I don't think I
Yes,
literally
and it's
heard
very
at all.
French, and it's starring the guy who was in the French movie The Untouchables, which is really good.
Okay.
Kevin Hart did a really bad remake of that
It's
recently.
so French that it's in the French language.
Yes,
Oh.
Ah, oui.
Now that's what I call French.
I feel like Netflix threw quite a budget.
Kyle, I hope you have a category that's called that.
That's what I call
That's
Writing
French.
it down now. Yeah.
I do have another French thing to bring up later.
Does Jean Reno do something this year? He'd be up there.
Dijon mustard in number 1. French fry.
I do
My
feel like
favorite
Netflix threw a big wallet at this show because they were filming on very famous French locations, like that glass pyramid thing. They filmed like on location there and did like a whole heist there, and I was like, what the heck? You can just do that? It's like a no-name Netflix show. Anyway, the last nominee I have is Pen 15. It's on Hulu. It's really, really funny. I'm pretty sure I brought it up before, but it's like these two ladies that are like our age, like they're like I'm 35. They're like our age. They grew up, in my generation, and they're playing like their 13 or 14-year-old selves because they can get away with it. They look really young, and
Like Chad.
yeah, it's like Chad, and it's even more awkward. And they touch on things that were from that generation. Chad is like set in present day,
Sure.
and Pen 15 is set in like the 2000s, whenever I was in middle school and high school.
Okay.
So it touches on like, instant messenger, like all these things that like
Game.
WWF, like it touches on when that was like all the business was pro wrestling.
Yep.
Dude, that even the name of that gives me bad
Yeah.
memories. I remember
Remember that,
in
right?
6th grade when I had no idea what this was. My mind was totally innocent, and someone
Yeah.
was like, it was a really pretty girl who the mean dudes had put up to this to see how many guys she could convince to join the Pen 15 club. But she was really pretty and was like, we'll just meet every day in the library after school. Like it's this new club, whatever it's called. But the only way to like be part of the club is we have to write it on your arm. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And
yep.
so she wrote it in permanent
remember that.
marker, Pen 15 on my arm. So I had the big word penis written on my arm,
Okay. I get it.
Nice.
Pen 15, which was fantastic because I had short sleeves on that day. It was great.
It was great. It's perfect lifestyle choice. And you actually turned it into a tattoo to
Yeah,
I
it's
did.
actually
Yeah.
to own
I
it.
did. Yeah.
You owned it.
And
You
put
turned it around- turned the
tattoos
tables.
of his children's faces right around it.
Wow, yeah.
They're in the club.
Dad, you're all in the club.
Yeah.
It's really funny though. I highly recommend it for people like in my generation that like grew up with that kind of like technology was like turning a corner
Sure.
where everybody started getting cell phones and all this stuff in
Flip
high
phones.
school. Yeah, just I highly recommend that. Anyway, the winner would be the French show, actually, Lupin. It was just I could not stop watching it when like from the first episode, because it ends with a really elaborate heist there, where of course he gets away with it, and he has to in order to set things in motion. But it ends up being like more of a revenge tale, and that's really cool. But yeah, I loved it. So that's it. The Lupin, whatever the hell it's called. It's great. That's it. The best show nobody talks about, especially Derek.
Nice. All right.
Derek
So
loves
Jeff-
French stuff. What are you talking
Jeff is
about?
going to be sending them his poop knife as their victory trophy. Congratulations, Lupin. These French guys in their offices like, what is these?
What is these knives?
I bet it originated in France. Let's be real.
Is this
be
for
Seems like something
caviar?
they'd have.
Let's be honest. All right, Kyle, do you have any categories you want to share with us and give us your either nominees or rankings, however you want to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I just have like some basic categories. So I'll just go with my first basic one, which is best album of the year. I don't talk a lot of music, but my favorite album of the year is from a band called Need. They're a band from Athens, Greece, but they sing in English. They're not like singing in some weird non-American
Latin.
language. Am I right, Jeff?
Yeah, man.
Some weird non-American.
Unless it's French, you can get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. No, the album's called excuse me, but I don't even know how to say this, but Norchestrion, A Song of the End. It's just a prog rock album. It's awesome. It's super
Nice.
great. If y'all like prog stuff, I highly suggest this. This guy's got a great voice. Good stuff. Give it a listen.
Dream
But,
Theater like, because you're saying it like pro.
I mean,
Or is it?
yeah.
Is there screaming or?
I mean, yeah. There some songs have some
Okay.
guttural screaming, but it's more like singy rock. You know?
Sure.
But yeah, I guess Dream Theater would be a good one in terms of transitions and stuff like that. That's not a bad comparison. Yeah, that's my number one. I don't have a whole bunch of nominations written down. Sorry, I don't have it. And
That's it, but that's your favorite. That's awesome.
yeah, good stuff.
All right. By the way, Derek has joined us. Welcome, Derek. Love that background, by the way. It's pretty sweet.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's dope.
Pretty sweet. We're just doing our favorite whatever of the year. So if you've got anything, I'll do my next one since I've got a bunch of extra ones. If you want to think of some category of favorite non-gaming things, whether it's movies, TV shows, whatever.
Okay.
So I'll do my top bands of the year. And this isn't based on listening time. It's just the ones that were just my go-tos of the year. So the 4 bands or artists that were kind of my go-tos in 2021. Number 1 was Bring Me the Horizon. Listened to them a ton this year. And then a total turn to a totally different style was Dirty Loops. That kind of weird fusion jazz. Like they're crazy
Yeah, they're
good.
good.
And
Thank
I
you
love-
for showing them to me. Jeez.
I love that band so much. Actually, the problem with listening to them is it makes me want to go on YouTube and then watch them because they recorded a lot of their performances.
Mhm.
Because it's hard to listen and not like see. They're so good. And then Sam Tynes, I think is how you say his last name, or Tynes. But Sam's really good. He's got some cool acoustic stuff as well as he's done some team ups with people like Tommy Profit, the producer, and they just do some really epic. He did a cover this past year of that Smashing Pumpkins song that's escaping my brain for the moment, but he's done some really cool stuff. And
Cherub Rock, 1979, or was it a famous one?
Yeah, the Butterflies one.
Oh, Butterfly.
Wings?
Spite on My Rage, whatever. That one?
Yeah. I think it's Butterflies with Broken Wings. It's some title that
Something
doesn't
like
make
that.
sense. They don't sing the words. I don't think it's just the title.
Despite all my rage, I'm
Yeah.
still just
Yeah.
a rat in the
He does a really
cage.
cool cover of that. But anyway, Sam Tynes or Tynes. It's Tinnes. He's fantastic. Highly
Because I
recommend
haven't
him.
heard of this dude.
And then Thrice has been a long time
Of
course.
favorite. And
Thrice.
their newest album. I'm so
Okay.
glad they're still doing.
Do they
music.
have a new one?
They do.
Yes.
Their newest
Wow.
album.
Dude,
this
it's
year
really
is
good.
Really, it's was it Palms? No, that was the last one. I forget what it's called, but it's really good.
I do too, but it is really good. I second your opinion on that. Yeah.
So
remember what it's
my
called.
favorite for the year then of
Horizon?
those 4. So there's Thrice, Sam Tynes, Dirty Loops, or Bring Me the Horizon. The winner's gonna have to be Thrice. I can't stop going back to that band. They're just my number one. Like I like all the new stuff Bring Me the Horizon's doing. I used to kind of throw them in the corner with a ton of other kind of screamo, metalcore, whatever. And I thought some of their songs are good, but who cares? Their newest stuff has been amazing. And Sam Tynes has been a real nice surprise. Dirty Loops have like blown my mind with how good each musician can be. But Thrice just does it for me, man. The lyrics and the sound
Yeah.
is just perfect. I love those guys.
They're so good.
So there you go. There's my top band of 2021. Derek, any non-gaming favorites you want to share?
No.
What
Okay.
about how about you rank your
Thanks.
favorite podcast hosts from worst to best?
Nope, that's a dangerous game.
Ooh, yeah, I like that one.
Oh, ban him now.
Well, Daniel and Jeff are tied for worst.
Okay.
Easily.
That was the goal.
Thanks for agreeing with Tim to bring me on before we brought them on then. So,
Kyle, we won.
Yeah, we did it.
And then you two are tied for whatever's above them
We
by
would
only
also
point
be
two.
we would also
Point
be
two.
last.
It
Not
can't
for
be a
James,
positive word. but
really, the
we're
best
can't
one
be
is
best.
Derek.
It's not best.
Derek thinks Derek is his favorite. He's his
Better
own-
than worse.
Yeah.
True.
Yes.
Any favorite movies or shows from this past year?
That's what I was trying to, while you were talking, I was trying to figure out like movies or music, but music, like Tremonti had an amazing album, which honestly, even though he was like my favorite guitar player, I was kind of falling off his music, even his other bands, but I gave his new album a shot and I absolutely loved it. As far as movies, I just watched Spider-Man again. It's a little bit better, meaning I didn't fall asleep like the first time I watched it.
That's a win.
But it's
Is it?
still, even though my two sons, they give it a review of, this is their review, the best movie ever made. Even after 2 viewings of it.
Oh no, man!
still-
Have they seen Avatar?
Oh,
You guys
what?
seen Avatar?
So I liked it a little bit better, but I still think I would have to say, unless I'm forgetting something else, Matrix Resurrections is probably my favorite movie of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
You're not being sarcastic? Like, actually? Really?
I can't think of anything else. I mean, if
Oh,
y'all
okay.
want to throw out some movies real quick, I might disagree with myself, but I
It
can't.
just it didn't seem like you liked it that much in the chat, I guess, as much as Jeff, Kyle, and I. But
I still don't, but that
Oh, okay.
Doesn't-
that
but-
just I keep in mind, and well, most of you know this. I don't watch a lot of movies or shows. Like I haven't even gotten through The Witcher. I saw y'all were chatting about Resident Evil. I didn't even think about watching that,
Yeah.
even though I love Resident Evil.
same here.
Down in the garage. Sorry, I've got my 2 boys with me, so I
I
might
like how I
be-
got left out
No
of
problem.
that the Resident Evil guys of the group. It's just me and Derek, Dan says. No mention of Kyle at
I
all.
mean,
who
we
loves
talk
Resident
about it.
Evil.
I think Derek and I have talked about
That
it the
hurts.
most.
it was
Kyle,
offensive.
you and I have anime. You and I have anime. Okay? You and I have anime.
I'm leaving.
All right.
So yeah,
Derek,
I think that's
Derek,
it.
feel free if you need to like step out and then come back in, like as you need to, since you've got kids you're taking care of. My mother-in-law's in town, so she and my wife are on kid duty. I took solo parenting duty while they went to this like mountain spa thing where they were sitting outdoor in hot tubs while it's like cold
That's
wintry
awesome.
outside with like the mountain views and everything. I mean, it looked like they had an amazing time, and I was at home with all the kids, not having as amazing of a time.
Sure.
So I've earned my
I don't know
chance
how
to
you
close
do it.
myself in the office
With
upstairs.
like 37 kids, I don't know how you do it alone.
Oh,
my
I
God.
just shame the older ones, and then the youngest ones, I don't know. I make them fight for food. It works out
Mm.
fine.
A lot of it's just
They do
a
gladiatorial
lot of it's
battles.
just
yeah.
negotiation as they get older.
Dude, this is so true.
Yeah.
It's less about like work. It's more about like negotiating.
That is
Mm.
really
Mm.
accurate. Really accurate. All right, Dan, what's another category of yours, my friend?
Kyle, speaking of anime,
Oh no, I'm gonna tune out
so,
for this one.
So, shut up, Tim. To be fair, I did kind of like an all-encompassing as opposed to just this year because I pretty much predominantly just play video games. I'm not sitting here watching like 10 different new animes. So this is kind of just an overall all-encompassing. For
Anime
me.
is already plural. How do I know that and you don't? Come on, man.
Ooh. Come on. Look at
For
look at he's frozen.
For the general public that don't understand that, I'm just pluralizing it so they
No,
understand
you're a fake
more
fan.
than one.
This just endorses my Dan's a fake fan of everything he supposedly
Amen.
loves.
I'm
Amen.
going to grab my sword, and
Oh, I
I'm not
thought
going
you
to
were
do
gonna
anything
grab
because
your
you're far
sword.
away. Well, I was talking about my busted sword, but anyways.
Yeah, he has an
so-
actual sword. It wasn't a metaphor. This
so,
time. This time.
Kyle and I soon will kind of have a discussion about this, but Dragon Ball Z, rewatched the whole thing recently. I still think it's fantastic. It's obviously a bit corny and like of the time, but like I love it. I don't even care. Rurouni Kenshin. I know you're not supposed to technically like that because the creator got in trouble for Well, let's just say it. He got in trouble for getting caught for having child pornography on his home computer. So
yeah, it's hard. The Kyoto arc, one of the greatest arcs in anime ever.
Yeah.
Hard to say that though, because
Yeah,
of all
so
of what you just said.
It's kind of
so.
a conflicting thing. It's like, oh, you're a monster, but like you've made, in my opinion, one of the greatest animes of all time. So that's really just troubling in my brain. Naruto, the series, just as a whole, it's super long, and there's definitely a lot of like just it being drawn out, but like there's just a lot going on there, a lot of feels, a lot of great characters. If you stick with it and you're into anime, I think it's actually genuinely really good. I know it's one of those things where it's like it's mainstream, so people just like, oh, it's not that great. It's like, well, I mean, there's some great moments, so I don't really care. My Hero Academia, also kind of one of those where it's like mainstream, but I just think there's a lot of great characters, great moments. The animation is fantastic. It just visually looks really good. And then 5, it's kind of just like I didn't really have a specific one, so it's kind of shout out Demon Slayer, One Punch Man, Attack on Titan, some old school ones, Gundam Wing, G Gundam, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which was like a great sort of retelling of the original story.
I recognize almost all those, but it does sound like you're just reading a list of random words.
Sure. Well, here's all right. Here's one. Inuyashiki, Last Hero.
What?
Which is an old man. It's an old man who finds this glowy thing in a field. I think it falls from space, and it basically gives him like immortality, and he basically can like he's like a robot on the inside now. But then this other guy finds the same thing, and he basically becomes a serial killer. And there's actually a scene where he's just murdering hundreds of people on the street, and he's going bang, 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 and they're all just like dropping dead and like just exploding and stuff. So he's the last hero trying to protect everybody from So it's very violent.
Sounds like Jet Li's The One.
It's exactly,
which is far superior to any anime.
Okay, all right. I listened to your list. You shut your mouth. So that's my anime list. So whoever wants to go
That's
next.
pretty good.
Yeah,
was I after him in the rotation? Okay.
Go for it.
All right, my next list is top 5 other favorite things from 2021 people like Derek would hate. All right, so I'm just gonna go off these in order.
Category. That's nice.
I've actually never asked Derek if you like this or not, but I'm going to throw in, this is where I'm going to throw in my number 5. I'm going to throw in All Elite Wrestling, AEW, because they've had an amazing year and they made me like wrestling again. I went to one of their shows last week and just had the best time that I've had in years at a wrestling show. And I've continued to go to them, even though it's been kind of like on a downward trend. But
they've been getting a lot of WWE
event?
guys.
I think the pay-per-view event, they called it Super Spreader, something like that.
Super Spreader, yeah. That's what they did. They called it Super Spreader, and then they also called it.
That's what she said.
Attend or die, or
Yeah.
wait, do I have that wrong?
Attend then die.
Attend then die. Yeah, that
my
was the slogan.
That's my sword there. Okay.
That's I had a really great time there. They've been putting on some amazing matches, which is something that doesn't really get complimented nowadays. Like unless you watch New Japan Wrestling, which I do.
Well, that's why they've been poaching the WWE guys, right? Because they're like, we want to do genuine wrestling.
WWE doesn't do wrestling anymore. They don't give a crap about it. They take breaks during wrestling matches on purpose because they don't like Vince mainly doesn't give a shit about that stuff. So,
when that guy dies, maybe things will be normal.
Maybe
right?
That's we can only knock on wood, I guess. That's terrible, but. My number 4 is not just Derek would hate this, but all of you would hate this. Is Olivia Rodrigo's "Sour." I just love that album. You guys can suck it. It's a good pop record.
Okay.
Oh wow, okay.
Number 3, I know Kyle's seen this because I badgered him into it. But there's this Magic special on Hulu.
Oh, you see, this is one of mine also. So.
Oh, okay,
Magic Mike?
cool.
Is it Magic
It's
Mike?
called In and of Itself, and it's by this guy Derek Delgadio. I don't know how to say his last name. Delgadio, I guess.
And calling it a magic thing is like so.
Yeah,
it's not that.
It's not at all.
But like that's the best way to describe it. Though.
It's even
it's like
impossible to
it's an
describe,
illusionist thing that's themed around identity.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's very themed around identity and what your I guess self-defined purpose is in life, based on what people project on you and what you feel you should be able to get away with in life, I guess. But yeah, he's like a mentalist. He's got some mentalist capabilities and stuff too, where like he can like kind of predict what people are thinking and stuff on the spot. And some of the stuff I'm like, how is he doing this?
Well, and some of this stuff also, whenever you talk talk about that mentalist stuff, like I don't like that stuff. Like I don't tune
no, me
into
neither.
stuff like that. You know, like it's not something I'm into.
Nightmare
or
Alley
anything like
is
that.
all about how gross mentalism is, and
Yeah.
there's a reason I don't like it.
So you know, like it's just one of those things that it's like a perfect concoction of like a weird experience. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. It was a very, very weird one man special. Could you call it like a Broadway thing almost? Like
it was
like
because it was on like in New York City, to the point where like word spread of how great it was. And you had like celebrity cameos in the freaking audience at one point where you're like, is that Bill Gates? What the hell is going on? Like, it's pretty wild how many people actually showed up to see it. And they taped it over the course of like, I can't remember exactly how many nights. I'm pretty sure it was like 30 shows or something like that. And they just spliced that into a special. It's just amazing. There's nothing.
It's incredibly moving.
Yeah. Moving. That's something that Derek wouldn't like. All right. So number two.
Emotions.
Number 2 is Bo Burnham Inside. Derek would hate this.
Bo Burnham, he's so cool.
Yep, he is. He's really funny, and it's kind of a musical more or less, but the music's actually like, it's really hard to describe. It's funny. I mean, it's funny, but it's also I don't know, man. It's really hard to describe the music. I mean, there's some synth elements to it. You could describe some of them as poppy. Some of them are just absurd. Like the Jeff Bezos songs are just so stupid.
Yeah.
And random too. They come out of nowhere in the middle of the special. But it just it was like the perfect whatever metaphor experience on camera that could replicate what everybody's kind of been going through since
I mean, didn't he kind of
early
start
2020
with filming himself at home doing YouTube stuff at the very beginning anyway? Wasn't
he
that
did. He was doing Vine and stuff like that. But this is like fully edited, like it feels like it's just
like he had a crew producing this for him, right? You could tell.
He did all of it himself,
No,
but
he
it
did.
looks like a crew did it. It's so professional.
He's really skilled.
Yeah, I don't get how he's capable of doing this. Anyway, my number 1 is not just exclusive to 2021. It's crying at movies. I do it a lot, and I love it. And people like Derek would not like it.
Do you hear that, Derek?
That's fair.
Tears.
It's moving
Emotions.
Feeling things.
It's
Being
moving
You
a
guys
person.
are crying. I'm sleeping. That's great.
Well, you've done that on camera, so.
Oh my
You know what?
God.
I cry at games too, but movies, it just happens more often because I, watch like 200 of them a year or whatever, or 400.
Derek and I have had that conversation about crying in games. I can't think of a game that I cried in. I'm sure there have been some that have gotten me feeling emotional.
I just had one happen last month, and it was
I'm
the
a big
blinking
baby.
one.
I'll cry and like maybe like I don't know. I'm a big baby, so
It was the blinking one for me that did it. The the before your eyes one.
Oh,
One that
sorry,
didn't win the.
And I was just a mess during that.
Derek.
so-
I thought you were walking out, so I muted you, but you're back, so you can unmute. All right.
Just keep it.
Or you can stay muted, whatever you want to do. Kyle, what is your
I'll
next-
rattle off 2 because Jeff just did one of mine. The thing nobody watched, in and of itself, it's on Hulu. It's fun. It's not even fun. It's actually soul crushingly like existential. So give it a go. I think I have to stay on brand here. I have to do best Star Wars thing this year.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you
Bad
go.
Batch. Everyone should be watching it. It's like Republic Commando, the TV show. You know, like the game that we all love.
By the way, speaking of which, because I wanted to watch that show, and I
Yep.
know that I need to finish like the Clone Wars or at least
Yeah.
the Essentials. I noticed on Disney Plus they actually have the essential episodes as a playlist almost. If you go under Star Wars in the Disney Plus app, and you scroll down under Clone Wars, it'll actually have the essential episodes there for you. Now, who selected those, and are those actually the essential
So
ones?
I think
don't
those are like 20 episodes chosen to get you ready for season 7, and it's a pretty
Right.
good list. It's a
Which
pretty
I
good
think
list
is
of.
which I think is cool. That's kind of what I've been wanting. So I think I'm going to
Yeah.
go through that, and then I'll watch the final season, which I've heard is great, and then I
think
can't wait to
that-
watch
Rebels.
That's a
then-
really good
then
way to get
Bad
into
Batch.
it. Rebels also ties into the show, but like it's less important. You can
gotcha.
get to that later. You know.
Nice.
So yeah, Bad Batch for sure. Also, as a runners up, just all of them feels that that trailer from the Game Awards brought. Or what was that?
Quantic Dream one?
Eclipse. Yeah, Eclipse. Yeah.
Wow.
The
Boy,
that looks.
boy howdy. Everyone's gonna get a really cool look into a side of Star Wars people aren't exposed to yet because no one's reading these books. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember several months back when we. Sorry, there's a loud motorcycle. Several months back, we talked about the rumor that not only are they working on this game, but that it's going to be more action oriented than other games. Who knows if that's going to turn out to be true? Even if it turns out to be a game that's a lot like Detroit, but it's in the Star Wars universe and it looks as amazing as we've already seen the teaser looks. I mean, I don't care. It's okay with me if it's mostly story based. You make decisions. There's some quick time events. I would probably still love it. Like, I don't need it to be an action game for it to be great, as long as it's excellent. And like Detroit was an incredible game. So, and it didn't need to be an action game, and it wasn't. So
Just
anyway.
roaming around some Star Wars town, just like interacting with all sorts of different alien races. Just that
Yeah.
alone seems really cool
I'll take it.
in a
I'll take it.
Quantic Dream type fashion, you know?
It could be one long cantina scene where you can go up to everybody and like talk to people and spin
Right.
off into your own stories,
Yeah.
and I'd be totally into that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So my next category is top podcasts, of course, outside of ours. Top
Oh, damn
podcasts
it.
that
Eh.
are current gen. So this is in my personal preference listening. So here are the 3 that came to mind first. And I also looked at my podcast list, what I've listened to the most. So number 1, actually not even number 1, the first one is Business Wars. These are in alphabetical order. I'll tell you about it in a second. Nate Land and the Tim Hawkins podcast. So Business Wars is essentially exactly what it sounds like. It'll go through, Coke versus Pepsi. It goes all the way back to the beginning of which one started first, and then when the competitor picked it up, and how they went back and forth over the years, and all of a sudden Diet Coke was a thing, and Pepsi was like, we need Diet Pepsi, so that became a thing. So just it does the back and forth, and it's usually 5 or 6 episodes per war. I think Netflix versus Blockbuster is one of their best ones. I also think that the WCW versus WWF was a really good one. There's a lot of really good ones. There's Anheuser-Busch versus Miller, I think it was. That was a great one too. So there's just some really, really good business wars in there. Nate Land is the comedian Nate Bargatze, and then 2 of his buddies.
He's great.
That all live in the Tennessee area. And I love his style of humor. I think his dry, sarcastic delivery is just so on point for my style of humor. I love it. He rarely even cracks a smile on stage, a little bit, but I mean, I just think he's great. And so their podcast is literally 3 guys who don't know a lot about stuff. They'll pick a topic and they'll do a deep dive on it, and they don't know what
Nice.
they'll look stuff up on Wikipedia, and it's just they're sitting around talking and they don't know
I
what
love
they're
that.
really saying. It's really funny. And then they read notes from people who are frustrated listeners who write in like, "Oh, you're so wrong about this." They're like, "Yeah, yeah, we are. We're wrong."
That
about
sounds like Bill Burr had it was back on
I love that.
what was it, satellite radio. It was Bill Burr and I forget the other comedian's name, but
it
it was
Burr?
called the was it Uninformed podcast? It was years ago.
Oh,
Hold on.
okay.
Informed. Let me look it up.
Was it with the guy he does the football one with now?
No, Joe DeRosa. There we go. It was
Joe
on the tip of
DeRosa,
my
okay.
tongue. Yeah, he's not as big.
No.
But he's like a local guy, I think.
Yeah.
Like Bill, just obviously Bill's way more popular. But yeah, it was on satellite radio. They had a podcast. It was called Uninformed. It was basically them just
There you
trying. They would try to do like a serious topic and be like, yeah, and just say stuff. And it's like Bill. Things just come out of his mouth. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So.
Yep, I love it. So Business Wars, and then Tim Hawkins podcast. Tim Hawkins is another comedian, lesser known. He's more in the like Christian and conservative circles. A lot of folks wouldn't know who he is. I think he's had some really great parodies you might have heard, like the Chick-fil-A song and stuff like that. But anyway, his comedy is not going to be for everybody. I think he's pretty funny, but his podcast is great. It's him and his wife and his daughter and her husband. So it's like the 4 of them, just family, just being goofs, and they're just it's just family talk. And so since I'm already kind of a fan of his, I like that show a lot. But for me, the number 1 winner is, and it's not even close, is Nate Land. I think the Nate Land podcast is amazing, and I love Nate Bargatze, so highly recommend you go check out Nate Land. So there you go. There's my top podcasts of 2021. All right, I've got essentially 2 categories left because one is split up into a couple different groups of movies. But anybody who has another one left? Dan, you got another one?
I could actually wing a second one as 2. I have one more, but I could do another one.
All right. So Dan,
You
why
can
don't
pretty
give us
much
yours?
go ahead. I just like had food. Like, so I know
Dude.
we've done burgers before. Derek,
Do
you
it,
and
yeah.
I.
Let's do it.
Bring it on.
Which, speaking of burgers, pretty much my favorite food is like just a nice like bacon cheeseburger, maybe some like crispy onions on it with like barbecue sauce, and some fries. Just
On board.
those 2
All
things
of that.
together, and it's
Yeah.
like that's just the best. Perfect,
Yeah.
perfection. Steak, just really, I don't have a particular cut really that I'm like, oh, I love this one way more. Just like a nice cooked tender steak.
That was
and
my
just see-
Christmas Eve dinner, and I was like,
nice.
I haven't had one of these in like a year. This
I
is
know. Yeah, it's not very often, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Dude,
it's
one of
like
the best steaks I've seen, like it looks like it's good, was the one that Joe Pantoliano's character from the original Matrix was eating.
Oh my god, when he cuts it, I'm
Yes,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Takes
my
that bite,
God.
it always
Ignorance
makes
is
me want
bliss.
steak. Yeah. Yes, yeah, that moment. Actually, in Resurrection, there's a moment when Keanu also takes a quick.
Yep.
There's a quick flash of him eating the
Oh, yeah.
steak. But
Yep.
Do
oh
we
man,
have a deal?
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, just nicely seasoned. It just with food, people sometimes forget to season, or like maybe you just season way too much. Like you just got to get it just right, and it's just all perfect and just works together. Buffalo chicken pizza, but the chicken has to be crispy. That's a must. Get your grilled chicken bull crap out of here. All right, crispy chicken only. Okay, thank you. I mean, most Italian food, right? I mean, can anyone name bad Italian food? Like, just in general.
Calzones.
Yeah, all the
All
Italian food
right,
here in
Ben.
Colorado is bad.
I'm kidding.
No, I mean, like chicken parm. I'm a big fan of, or like lasagna. I love lasagna. Just a big,
I love a
big
good lasagna. Yeah.
lots of meat in between those.
Italian was actually my Christmas night dinner. That
Oh,
was
there you go.
we had like a pepperoni. It was like pizza was on top of it, but it was like a casserole. It had like
Ooh,
yeah, so it was like
pizza casserole.
yeah, basically it was really
So
good.
basically, Jeff and I ate the same things New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Nice.
That's so wild.
That's cute. That's cute.
I got
Are we the
me
same
a-
person? Is
Please,
this
dear
a
God.
multiverse situation?
I'm just
White guy
a
Christmas.
ridiculously better looking version of you,
Okay.
Probably.
Oh wow.
and
So which-
way more humble.
Which?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the most
Okay,
humble
okay,
person
yeah.
I've ever met.
I wasn't aware you even knew what that word was. That's
I-
crazy.
Hashtag
Dan,
humble.
Dan, any more foods before we go to see if Derek's got another list?
You know what? Just cookout food.
Oh.
I'm really just a big fan of meat. Just give me
Yeah.
some meat. Like
Yeah.
I
some.
know you.
some
I know you like
brisket.
it.
Yeah, I was gonna
There's
say you
something
guys
in
saying
there.
that there,
We're
buddy.
all getting there together.
You love
I
slapping
like-
it, putting it in your
Anime
mouth,
and
smelling
meat.
it.
We all know what you need to come out of.
Dude,
Buddy.
you know what I
We
like
all
about a good
know what you
cookout
need
is
to
when
come out.
someone does like the kebabs and they put like the aluminum
Yes.
foil down and they grill those kebabs on there,
Yes. Yes.
or even corn on the cob on a grill. Pretty fantastic.
See, I
Grilled
like
is
corn,
amazing.
but as I've gotten older, I'm kind of like corn on the cob is kind of like a nuisance to me because it just gets in my teeth and it's like I'm just annoyed. Like I want the corn off of the cob. I don't even care. Just
Yeah,
get.
you're getting
I don't want the
older. I
cob.
love it. I love the
Yeah.
grumpy oldness. It's great.
Yeah.
It's good
I don't
stuff.
need that.
Derek, you got any other top lists from this past year?
No.
Also, Derek talking to me about meat. All right, go talk to your boyfriend Sasan. All right.
All right, Jeff, what do you
Doesn't
got?
have meat.
Oh, movies that hold on. Dang it, I just clicked my VPN. Okay, I'm still
He
here.
doesn't want anybody to know he's in Texas.
Movies. Movies that I feel like not a lot of people have talked about or seen.
Again,
Number
is this, are
5.
you excluding any, or you're just saying you don't think people have heard of your
I
favorite?
just don't. I feel like these movies came and went, especially in our group or in the internet as a whole, like on film Twitter and stuff. People, the snobs on Twitter that don't talk about
I'm
these.
just making sure. Are you just saying these are my 5 favorite movies, no matter what? Or are you
No,
saying
no.
I'm
I excluded
targeting
things like
movies?
Dune because we've
Okay.
talked about Dune. I love Dune. We know.
I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Uh,
I wasn't aware.
Yes, I liked it a little bit, and Matrix I excluded that. Number 5 came and went. It was Wrath of Man. This is a Guy Ritchie movie with
So
Jason
good.
Statham,
Oh,
and it was just one of the most stressful experiences since Sicario that I've had in a movie theater.
Hmm.
And it's such a great thriller. It's so good.
Wrath of Man. All right.
Yeah, it's who
Guy
else is in
Ritchie
it?
through and through. It's so Guy Ritchie.
It
Josh
is.
Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett.
What's his,
Yeah,
what's his face from Mindhunter?
Oh, it's on Prime
Yep.
Video. Nice.
is it? Oh, cool. I want to watch that again.
It's so good. Oh,
I actually think I bought
it's
it
a
on
man's
Vudu.
movie. Like it's a man's man movie.
Oh,
like,
it is.
They're calling each other all sorts of names that are
Yeah.
just not PC these days. So.
There's I think there's a sale on Vudu like there is, almost every week it feels like, but there's an end of year sale right now, and I bought this one for 2021 movies, I should say, and I bought this one for like $5.99 at 4K quality. So I mean,
I should correct that. It is actually that's false advertising. Amazon. It's available for rent or purchase on Amazon.
oh
I was
okay,
gonna say
Jerks.
Amazon does that a lot, where they make you think it's in your library because it's free through their
It's really
subscription,
enjoyable,
but it's
though.
not.
That's a ripoff. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah. Anyway, this is really enjoyable. My brother was the only one that came back at me and was like, "It's just a little over the top serious," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's supposed to be like a dude, bro action movie."
Dude, it's such a dude bro action
Oh,
movie. I
Post
felt like
Malone
I
is
needed.
in it.
I felt
Post
like I
Malone's in
needed
it?
to
I'll
drive
watch
to
it.
the wreck and take a shower. Like just
Post Malone. Oh my god, the stuff that happens to Post Malone is so freaking funny. Okay, yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got to watch that movie. It's so good. My number 4 is the most Jewish movie I've ever seen in my life. So it's called Shiva Baby, and it's about this girl who's like 20 something, and she has to go to some type of Jewish ceremonial thing where there's a bunch of family there and friends, and she's in a relationship with this married guy who just had a baby, and they're there, like the married couple and their baby are there.
Oh, jeez.
So all those circumstances, there's actually it's a comedy kind of, but imagine it shot and scored like a horror movie, and that's what this movie is. So like it's like really intense, like a horror movie. It's really cool, and funny. So number 3 is Coda. I think I brought this up before on here. It's on Apple TV Plus Max minus whatever the hell they call their service. It's Coda stands for child or children of deaf adults, and this movie is from perspective of the daughter of deaf parents, and her brother's deaf too. And I just never seen a movie like that.
I remember
From
you
that
telling us about
perspective.
this one.
Yeah, this one's really good. Lots of heart. And hey, I felt stuff in this movie.
That's okay,
so-
Derek.
Don't tell
So
Derek.
Derek, you're gonna love this one.
Yeah.
So number 2 is Riders of Justice. I think I convinced Kyle to watch this one too, and it wasn't that hard to convince him because Mads Mikkelsen is the lead role.
Yeah, it took no convincing.
Yeah, but this felt like a Danish Guy Ritchie movie because there's a lot of really like kind of quick-witted humor that's kind of dark, and it's about Mads Mikkelsen's wife died in like a train wreck, or did he have a kid too?
Yeah, the kid was there, but the wife's the one that died.
The wife's the one that died.
Yeah.
It died in like a crazy train crash, and there's one character in the movie who is like a guy who does like deductions and predicts the probability of things, and he's like, that train wreck was on purpose and deliberate because there was like a witness to a mafia or whatever. Like there was like a witness. He was gonna rat out the mafia, and the mafia got to him first, and your wife was collateral damage. So this guy goes and talks to Mads Mikkelsen and convinces him to do like a revenge trail. And man,
he
the
murders
action
so
is
many people in this
insane.
movie.
It's so good.
So much Mads murdering.
Yeah.
So much Mads murdering.
It's so good, but it's about so much more than that, though. That's why it's
There's
one of my
some really
favorite
poignant
pictures.
stuff with like the father-daughter relationship because he's like a killing machine. He's not really a father figure, and like the movie really explores that. And
He has
it's
no
really
idea
good.
how to bond with her at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really great. And my number 1 is a French thing. It's I don't even know how to say it. Titane, or it's about a girl who's impregnated by a car. Yep, it's a real thing. It's a movie.
I remember you were joking about this. This is for real your favorite of the things that people haven't watched. Oh my god.
Yeah, people that haven't watched or seen, it's
sure.
There's more to it than that. Like that's part of it, and that kind of ends up driving her to go on the run.
Are you sure you weren't just really high and watched Titanic and thought you saw something very different?
I'm positive.
Okay. All
The
right.
writer was probably high of the movie. That's for sure.
Tell us about the
but, like,
birds
she's
and the
also,
cars.
There's also like a B and C story where like she's a serial killer
Yeah.
in the movie. And she is on the run because she kind of like got sloppy at like one house. She went to go. There's actually a pretty funny scene. It's dark, but it's funny where she kills somebody, and then more people keep coming up from downstairs, and she's like, "Oh my god, how many people are here?" So she has to like kill everybody.
Killing all of them.
She's almost
exactly.
annoyed. She's like, guys.
This is ridiculous.
I'm trying to get home.
Yeah, exactly. So she goes on the run, and then she discovers that there's like this missing child that went missing like 15 years ago or whatever. It was a boy, and she was like, well, if I cut my hair and look really shitty, then I can kind of pull off looking like an older version of this boy. So that's where she goes into hiding. So there's like it takes a lot of turns, man. It's a freaking bananas movie.
All right.
And I love it. Not for everybody, but I loved it.
That's fair. All right. Well, my next category is top streaming services. I'm going to go with 3 nominees. There's a lot of them out there, but there's 3 main ones that have done it for me this past year. HBO Max, Disney Plus, and Netflix are the ones
HBO
that have
Max,
given
I
me. They've given me the most entertainment, bang for the buck, totally worth staying subscribed to all year. But as far as my top one, if I had to pick one, I'm gonna have to go Netflix, and that's mainly because of the last few months of this year. And I'll talk about my top TV shows in just a minute as to why I think that is over the last couple months of the year. It was Disney Plus probably up to that point, although HBO Max allowed me to see a whole bunch of new movies I probably wouldn't have seen for a while. I love that they had the day and date of a lot of really cool stuff. But those are my top 3 there. Kyle, you got any other categories?
Yeah, I got a couple movie ones, and I'll just be really quick about them. My favorite thing that wasn't Matrix or Dune.
There you go.
That's the whole category.
I love it.
The Green Knight. I think
yeah.
a lot of people are gonna hate this movie. I think it's great. Whatever.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
My most underrated movie of the year that probably has no right being as good as it is. Candyman. Got no right being as good as it is.
Yeah.
Super great horror movie.
Got Morpheus in it, right?
Got Morpheus in it.
Yeah.
Oh,
New Morpheus. Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a look. Good stuff.
All right. Nice. All right. Dan, do you have any more?
No, that was it. That was it for me.
Jeff, you got any more?
Yeah, I can swing a favorite podcast for the year. I'm just scrolling through Spotify.
I've got 2 more. So let me do one, and then you can.
Yeah.
Okay. So my favorite TV shows of the year, kind of attached to the top streaming services. This was a tough one. There's a lot of good TV shows out this year.
You're telling me, dude.
A lot of good second seasons for shows like Ted Lasso and The Witcher. I thought both had great second seasons, but they're not quite at the very top for me personally. Even though I really enjoyed them a lot. So for me, the top 4 are. So here's the 4, and then I'll tell you which one I like the most. Arcane, Loki, Mayor of Easttown, and Midnight Mass were my favorite.
Those are take out Arcane, and that's my top 5 of the year.
Yeah. Shout out
Serious.
to Arcane, obviously. Like, Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Mayor of Easttown is still like the TV show that's looming over me that I have to get to.
It's amazing, dude.
My list.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Not only is the writing amazing and the performances are all really great, but Kate Winslet, she's good in everything she's in. Everyone knows that. She's always a good actress. But she took that very specific, hard to nail down Delco accent that if you're not from that area of Pennsylvania, you might not or if you don't have family from there, you might not recognize
They murdered my daughter. Yeah.
But there's very certain words like it's my daughter. It's like that stuff like that. You say like daughter instead of daughter. You'll say like daughter, or like, hey, did you leave the water on? Like water. Like it's these little phrases and it's not consistent. It's not like everything that sounds like now has a U sound. It's not consistent.
Yeah.
So
Evan Peters is in it, and he's not from there, so he's like, it doesn't sound like that at all. So
right. She's British, and she totally nailed this accent. She did say it was one of the hardest accents to get, but she did it.
So the only show, so remove Arcane, replace it with Squid Game. That's my top 5. That's my actual top 5.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. So as far as for my favorite, I mean, this is a really tough one. I thought all those shows were fantastic.
Yeah, dude.
I got to go with Arcane. Like that's one of the only ones I want to watch and rewatch and tell everyone about and make everyone watch. It made me want to go and find out, like, are there any other shows or games I can dig into in this world? Like, I want this so bad. It's one of those very rare shows that just it sticks with you, and you're almost annoyed that there's not more somewhere.
Yeah, I'm super annoyed that we have to wait like at least 2 years for the next season.
Probably, yeah.
No,
because they officially said there's not going to be any in 2022, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
That kind of animation, like how detailed it is, and just everything. Yeah, it's just
a lot.
Probably takes a hot second. Yeah.
Loki was really great, surprisingly good. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. It's my favorite of the Marvel shows so far.
I agree.
This year too, Jesus.
Yeah.
And I just thought Midnight Mass was brilliant. I love that it's a limited series. I know that the creator's probably going to make more stuff, but I don't want him to make like a season 2 Midnight Mass. Like, I don't want that. I want
he's got.
Love it.
Yeah,
he already filmed another thing where it's like at a old folks home and they're being haunted or whatever. That's like a totally different show.
Love it.
And they're already filming a different show from that right now, and it's all different. And I love that. Yeah.
Great show, but I got to go with.
Dude never stops working.
Got to go with Arcane. All right, Jeff, what are your top podcasts of the year before we wrap this up?
Podcasts, this is like in no order, but I love The Office, so I listen to Office Ladies. I love that podcast. It literally just every episode is a new episode, or it covers an episode of the show in order. And they're just going scene by scene, and they were there, so I mean, they're giving you all the Easter eggs from being on set. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. He's just one of my favorite personalities, period. He's just a genius, and some of the guests he has on, it's just like, oh, I've been dying. Like him and Quentin Tarantino was like 2 weeks ago, And I was like, oh, I've been dying to hear them have a conversation.
And the way he mocks his staff and his assistant is hilarious.
It's so funny. And
He
she
is.
gives it back to him
She does give it
every
back to
single
him.
time.
Yeah,
they're,
yeah.
But
they're
he'll
so
say
funny.
things like how mad he is that back when she was pregnant before she had her babies.
Yeah.
I guess she was having twins. It's just like, she's like, you seem like you're mad that I'm pregnant. He's like, I am mad because I just want to know for sure that I'm still going to be the most important thing to you after they're born. He's so funny.
I love that. I freaking love that that dynamic.
Kentman, what's that dude that's just very straight faced? The one that's super pretentious. He's like the executive producer or something, but he does like skits with them every once in a while. Is it Jordan something? Jordan Schlansky?
Schlansky?
Yeah. Dude,
He's never on the podcast, but yeah, he's been on this show a ton.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Conan always jokes like, I still have no idea what you do here. Like you just show up and you have horrible opinions. And
Yeah, some of
ruin
my
everybody's
favorite
day.
Conan things are just like him, just with that dude, because that dude is like a robot. Just
And they go. I love I highly recommend his show Conan Without Borders. I think he even went out of the country with that guy.
Yeah, they went to Italy, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's
'Cause
like just being insufferable like the entire time. It's so funny.
It is.
So Smart List with where it's Jason Bateman and Will Arnett and what's the other guy's name? Sean Hayes. And the conceit is one of them brings on a celebrity guest and doesn't tell everybody. So they kind of have to interview. And that's I feel like that's BS. They probably tell each other. But they get some really good guests on. And I mean, they're like A-list celebrities that they have on. So it's entertaining. And Jason Bateman, like all three of them are just bickering with each other sometimes between questions. It's really funny. And last one I want to mention. Oh, this one's kind of new. Always Sunny podcast. They're doing the same thing Office Ladies is doing. And
are they?
there's no structure at all. It's just basically the same thing as Always Sunny, where they're just bantering and it's stupid. It's like some of the dumbest stuff. It's so funny. And Song Exploder is the last one I wanted to mention. That's I think there's even a show on Netflix where it's like half an hour per episode, whatever. But it's just this one guy takes these songwriters of famous songs, and they're not like current, like 2021 songs. They're not always current songs. Like he just did an episode with Danny Elfman about What's This from Nightmare Before Christmas, and asked them how he came up with that song. And then they play, he gets demos of the songs, like the original tracks from when the writer wrote them. And he asked them, take me through how you came up with these. And that's just, as a songwriter, I'm just like super fascinated by all that stuff. So
I like that a lot.
yeah.
I like that.
And it's short. It's like 20-minute
Really
episode.
funny picture up today. You said It's Always Sunny. Reminded me of that picture you had up today. The box office looked like this weekend, and it had Rob McElhenney's character dressed up like Matrix, and then Danny with the Spider-Man costume.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's pretty spot on.
It's
I mean,
exactly what it was.
Unfortunately, Matrix didn't do so hot. That's all right. Sing
No?
2 surpassed it, unfortunately.
Well,
are you kidding me?
it's tough when you put
Well,
it streaming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's on
streaming at the same
HBO.
time.
Yeah.
If it's on HBO, it's gonna hurt it.
I
I'm not gonna go see it in the theaters.
Same.
I
just
did,
I really
but
want
we'll
there
talk
to be
about that.
another one. I really want there to be another
I'm with you, Derek, because I feel like with Sing 2, my kids actually are gonna make us. We're gonna have to take them. I think on Tuesday we're taking them to go see it.
Yeah.
You really want to see it. If that had been on Disney Plus or whatever, like if it had been something else, we totally would have
Sure.
just watched it.
Yeah.
But
It's fair.
anyway, speaking of movies with my kids, here's my top movies with my kids this year.
Nice.
Here's the 5 that I had selected.
I hope Encanto's up there. It better be. Racist.
Yeah, Encanto, Free Guy, Raya and the Last Dragon. Not sure how to pronounce that, honestly. Raya and the Last Dragon.
I think it's Rhea.
Ron's Gone Wrong, which is on Disney Plus.
Oh,
and
that's a fun movie.
It's hilarious. I highly recommend it. And then The Mitchells versus Machines on Netflix.
Dude, that movie is way too good. Like it's
And
It's not fair
Encanto
how
had the
good that
best
movie is.
music. Free Guy has all the Ryan Reynolds you could want, and I love it. I think it's hilarious.
yeah.
Raya and the Last Dragon is pretty epic. I highly recommend that movie. Ron's Gone
Pretty.
Wrong is hilarious. It has no business being that funny. It look kind of. I thought it was going to be a low budget, who cares movie, but it's actually really
Yeah.
clever and sweet.
Dude, I saw the trailer and I said that's the dumbest trailer I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh, it's you kids can have robot friends, but this
Yes.
one's broken and that's the whole movie. I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Dude, my kids were laughing so hard, and so was I.
Yeah.
To be honest, we were laughing really hard at this
It was
movie.
funny. It was funny. Yeah.
But my favorite had to be The Mitchells versus Machines. I thought not only was
Yeah.
the story really good and it was very sweet and it was very funny, But dude, that animation, talk about animation being good.
Mhm.
That animation was so fantastic. It was,
Yeah,
it was
dude.
really good. So I
That
love
movie
Mission.
is stunning. I think that was like one of the first ones I watched on my new TV.
Oh,
And I was like,
nice.
look at these freaking colors, dude. It's
It's kind of told
it's a
from the
beautiful movie.
perspective of the teenage daughter who's getting ready to head off to college, and she's a bit of a kind of a short film director, sort of, and she has a very
Yeah.
unique personality and sense of humor, and so everything that's happening kind of has her editing on it, and it's just really funny. It's just really well done. My top guilty pleasure movies. These are movies that I know a lot of people hate, and I don't care. And
Oh,
and
boy.
whether it's critics or other people.
Here we go.
Here's my top three in no particular order, no winner really. Here's my three that I really loved, and I don't care if you hated them. Godzilla versus Kong. I loved it.
Well, that movie
And I
ruled.
know a lot of people hated it, but I
That
loved
movie
it.
kicked ass. dude.
Guilt free. Yeah,
Yeah.
enjoy that guilt free too.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Red
wanted
Notice.
a giant lizard fighting a giant ape, and that's what I got. So
That's it.
Yes.
Red Notice with
Absolutely.
Ryan Reynolds and The Rock and Gal Gadot, however you say her name.
whatever you say,
Listen.
Tim. I'm glad you like it.
Red
Wow.
Notice was a lot of fun. And I don't think I had as much fun with it until I watched it with my 14-year-old. Then I remembered like, oh, this is what it's like watching a movie, with my dad when I was a kid. Like it had that
Sure.
same
Mhm.
vibe to it, and so I really loved it. And then, oops, I think I turned down my volume. And then last one is Mortal Kombat, which I know got
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
panned by a lot of
That
people.
is definitely a guilty pleasure one for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There are
I-
a lot of very dumb moments in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Still thought it was really
Super
enjoyable.
dumb.
Yeah,
Well, I
I
know
still thought
that-
it was a lot of fun.
Derek and Dan and I talked about that movie after it came out, and I think in general we all were like, "That was really fun. We loved this."
It
movie."
was. I mean,
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat, the games aren't like
I
the
know.
most amazing, like groundbreaking, like writing and just anything,
No.
So
Really
Yeah.
questionable choice to make it pre-tournament. Like the entire movie's
No,
pre-tournament.
really
Well-
questionable choice to have that main character at all.
That's true. That's true. A
Yeah,
new guy
everything
whose
else was
skin gets
great.
hard.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to be different and they wanted to almost do like a Mortal Kombat 0 sort of thing.
Right.
So like,
well,
you know,
in a good way that you give a passenger through a story.
You guys are
so
already
you-
thinking
Sure.
about it way more than I did. I thought.
Yeah,
It was,
it's true though. I mean, that's why it's a guilty
I mean, they
pleasure
could've
movie,
named
because
that
you
new
go, okay,
character-
there's some bad stuff in that, but it was still fun.
They
So.
could've just
I thought it
named-
was great.
could
Yeah.
have just
Yeah.
named him Chad. Like, who cares? Like, it's just a normal.
Well,
thing.
there you
Yeah,
go.
he was
Shows.
Chad.
Chad, Nassim Pedrad as a dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And then my favorite movies that I definitely had to watch alone. Like my wife was not interested, and my kids won't watch them with me because it's still too much. Maybe my oldest son could, but so here are those. It's gonna be between Matrix Resurrection, which I just watched over the weekend,
sweet.
The Suicide Squad,
Oh yeah, you can't watch that with the kids.
yeah,
Uh,
no, definitely not.
Nobody,
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Bob
Yeah.
Odenkirk, The Harder They Fall.
Yep.
And I was gonna include stuff like Dune, but that's not fair. I think my wife and my younger kids probably could watch Dune, so I'll leave Dune off there. So those are the four kind of,
Yeah.
like harder move. Oh, and I forgot this one, Judas and the Black Messiah. So those are the ones that are
Oh,
like
dude, that movie
tougher. They're tougher
Oh.
ones to watch with family,
Yeah.
movie's too good.
But as far as my personal favorite out of all those, I got to go with Nobody. I think it was just
Yeah.
my favorite out of those harder, like R whatever movies.
Did you watch that at home?
I did. I know. I wish I
So-
could have seen it in theater. After
That was my first time back at the theater since like Tenet, I think.
Yeah.
So imagine my joy seeing that type of action.
Yeah.
John Wick action. It's like a little slower John Wick choreography, basically, but it is John Wick-ish.
It is.
And like, I was just so freaking pumped after seeing that movie, dude. That action was just unreal. Yeah, that was one of my favorite theater experiences of the year for sure.
So those
Dang,
are my
I should have done theater experiences.
theater experiences. There
Do
you
it now. Do it now, Jeff.
Oh,
I
okay.
know, listen.
No Way Home. Nobody. Wrath of Man. The Harder They Fall. I can't. Okay. That's all I got.
Got it.
Maybe Dune. Maybe Dune.
Okay, good.
That was just really cool to be in.
But these
be
are
in
just movies, not like things you did in the theater, like making out with a random person who I'm pretty sure was a girl. Like
No, no.
Pretty
Okay.
sure. Pretty sure.
Pretty sure.
It's dark in there, guys.
65% sure.
Yeah.
No, I go to movies to watch them. People that go there
razors
to.
cut stubble down really close these days. All right, hard to say.
Hey man, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. I'm here for it. Actually, I'm not. I'm not here for it. Other people are here for it. Okay, so let's talk about.
We're here for them for being for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Matrix Resurrection. Speaking of that, so we're.
Yeah.
By the way,
before I
that closes out our non-gaming things of the year. Thank you guys for participating. I know it's silly. Who cares? But
NG Toadies.
it's fun to look back at. Yeah, the NG Toadies. It's fun to look back at
What?
this past year.
non-gaming things of the year. NG Toadies.
Next week it'll be
Sure.
much more structured. Here's the category. Here's our thoughts. Let's rank lists. Let's pick our personal lists,
Yeah.
and all that good stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun. But for now, let's talk about stuff we're watching before we do anything else. We got a few headlines, a handful, not too many, and some things that we're playing. But since there's been no major game releases since we last chatted, we're going to recap a few things we've been playing. But I want to make sure before Dan has to go that we talk The Matrix. Is it Resurrection or Resurrections?
Plural.
Resurrections.
I mean, 2 people got
'Cause
revived. So
there are multiple resurrections, Tim.
Wow, super spoilers. It's fine. Fine.
Yeah.
watch one trailer, I guess. But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But yeah, obviously we
Multiple
won't-
erections. I
we
can
won't
tell
give
you.
you
I can confirm
actual
that.
story spoilers there. I mean, we'll tell you the title, which you should already be able to see for yourself and not get upset about. But Matrix Resurrections, which I just watched on HBO. I didn't watch it on a big theater screen, which I'm sure looks amazing. But
It
I was
does.
able to. I was sitting at my desk and watched it on my pretty decent monitor. I thought it looked and sound and had headphones in. I thought it looked and sounded great. So anyway, I just watched it. I liked it a lot, but I don't have a lot to say about it because I'm not the Matrix super fan that I know that Jeff and Kyle are, especially. I know Derek is too, although it looked like he had to step away. If he comes back, he can give his thoughts. And then Dan, I want to hear your thoughts too before you have
Yes.
to take off. So in general, I really enjoyed it a lot. It was one of my top favorite movies that I ended up having to watch alone for the year. That's
Yeah.
saying something, okay? Not every movie makes that list, all right?
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. It was better than I thought it would be, and not only was it a lot of fun, it was very intelligent. It had some nice
Yeah.
winks to the original stuff and some really cool like meta real world connections to what
Oh,
it's
yeah.
probably like for
Mhm.
Lana Wachowski, and so there was just some really cool things there that I really appreciated that they did. But anyway, that was my take. Overall, very good. Jeff, Kyle, Dan, whoever wants to take it. Dan, if you have to go soon, why don't you go first?
Well, so what I actually, and I'm glad you did watch it, Tim, because you can actually join us. I don't know when Kyle and Jeff, you guys want to do that, maybe tomorrow or the day after. We wanted to do an actual full spoiler discussion on it.
Mhm.
Well, that and Spider-Man also. So we can figure that out later, obviously. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm wondering when nostalgia became like just an overall negative thing. Like, when did that happen? That was probably a while ago, right? It's not a recent thing,
No,
right?
that's actually because No Way Home it's celebrated, but in this it's frowned upon. So,
Right.
Well,
Like-
it's the cornerstone of like our entire generation, like
Yeah,
is
like,
nostalgia.
When
So
when the person is creating this
I don't
new
know
thing,
why it
so
became negative.
if you take Matrix, for example, Matrix Resurrections, like Lana Wachowski, literally one of the 2 writers that created the original trilogy. So clearly she's very intrinsically tied to this movie.
yes.
She wrote the other movies. She knows what she's doing. She understands the lore, the world, the characters. Like, so she took that and then made this new thing and took some elements of nostalgia and mixed it in with like new stuff. And it's just a blend, I think, of just a good balance of the new and old. And I think it works really well. And like you said, it is smart. I don't know if it's like the smart aspect people took as like them just trying to almost kind of like poke you in the face, like, oh, he made a video, the video game thing, huh, guys. Like, I don't know if that like bothered people because it was too like, I don't know.
I had a feeling the meta stuff was going to lose a lot of people, and it did.
Yeah, I have a feeling like a lot of the stuff that was on the nose and supposed to be on the nose were too on the nose for people. You know,
But
In
it
fact, they
actually
even
makes
used
sense,
Warner.
right?
They even used
Like-
Warner Brothers as the
Yeah.
company that's going to make
Uh-huh.
it with or
Sure.
without you.
I think that like there's
Alright.
2 moments. That moment, and then there's, and I'm not spoiling anything. The Merovingians in the trailer. He starts spouting off a whole bunch of stuff that it's just like, this is probably the stuff that everybody hates.
Yeah.
Because it is like very super on the nose, but the rest of the movie is really nuanced. So I don't
Right.
know. Yeah,
Agreed.
I don't like. There's 2 specific moments that I thought were really like
But
sledgehammery.
even him being in there, I think is cool because it's like they mentioned something about like almost like old programs, like they thought they
Exiles.
were purged.
There
Exiles,
was a giant
thank you.
purge.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And,
there's a lot of
like,
world building in this movie.
yeah, there's just everything is there purposefully, it seems.
Mm,
So like whether you like it or not, that's fine. But to just be like, oh well, it's too meta or it's dumb because they're doing, I don't know. I just don't.
All right, so give me some. Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, I was gonna say my take on it is like that's the kind of movie it is. It's a movie about meta and like the deconstruction of like sequels like that. And
Mhm,
people are like, oh, it's too much of that. It's kind of like saying the first Matrix had too much action because it's an action movie.
Sure.
It's like, wow, they spent way too much time on putting all that action in that action movie. You know, that's That's the whole point of this movie, is to be meta and to have this like dialogue about sequels and stuff. So people who are like, I don't know, it was just way too much of that. I'm like, well, that's the movie.
Right. Exactly.
So, and that doesn't mean you have to like it, but like that's you're saying the movie is what it is supposed to be, and that's a criticism.
The people that say that they'd added nothing new to the franchise are the ones that make me really mad. It's like, you're basing your opinion not in reality. Then you are in your own matrix
There's
with
a
this
lot
opinion.
of wild like world,
Your own
Yeah.
matrix.
world
It's
building.
coming. It's coming from a place where it's just coming from the general negativity they're feeling, as opposed
Sure.
to an intelligent thought. You know what
That's
I
the
mean?
negative
I know
side of
more people
nostalgia.
who. Oh,
That's the
I'm sorry.
negative side of nostalgia, I think, when you hold on too tightly to what
Yep.
you think made the other ones special, and you just
Sure.
want that exact thing, or you
I'm
don't
gonna be
want
honest
any
with you,
to that
There's,
thing.
there's a
is
whole
a-
dialogue about that in this movie.
This is
I
not
know.
a common opinion, but that was my problem with Ghostbusters Afterlife. Was like, I felt like nostalgia superseded anything going on with the new characters in the story. Like, it felt like it was a movie about the objects.
Yeah.
Like, look at all these cool
But remember,
objects.
that
we used
movie
to have.
celebrated too, Jeff.
And what?
And that movie's celebrated too.
It is.
for the
So
use
I'm
of
confused
nostalgia.
by
Like, remember
people
the
that celebrate
car?
that, but
Remember the
then-
Yeah.
car?
Hey, remember the Ecto One? Remember,
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah, remember? It's a character in this.
I
basically.
remember.
But so people celebrate that, or when No Way Home does it, No Way Home did it like efficiently, like they did it, and made it tie into the heart of the movie.
Sure.
This one uses nostalgia as like as a way to make a commentary about it. Like, it's not necessarily
Right.
using it to
Boy, and
just
is
be.
there commentary?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It's not necessarily
Lana
using
had
it.
a lot to say about
Yeah.
the state of entertainment.
Yeah.
Well, without
it just
if we are going to do a
permeates.
spoiler cast,
Yeah.
without spoiling anything, what were
Yeah.
what were some of your guys' favorite either characters or very broad description of like moments? Like, what were some of your favorite elements of the movie? And I'll just start with saying my favorite character has to be the new. I guess I would call her a lead in Bugs. I thought
Bugs,
she
Bugs,
was.
yeah.
I thought she was
What's up, Doc?
fantastic.
Actress, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I thought
good.
she was really, and I mean, there was a lot of articles about it. It sounds like she was going to be in Shang-Chi, but was not because of that. She had to kind of choose between the two.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense
And-
though, because she was going to be the sister, and this is a lead role in Matrix 4. Like, this
There you
is
go. Yep.
she has more screen time than Trinity. Like, she's
Yep.
Yeah.
she's in this
Dude,
movie a lot.
she's great, and not only is she good at the whole fighting and acrobatic thing, which she's great at that stuff, obviously.
She
but-
learned how to do that in Iron Fist, by the way. She took that for real. She
Oh,
took that serious.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
I didn't,
she's
I
a
didn't- I didn't
fantastic
notice.
actress. Like, she did,
Yeah.
I think, most of the work in a lot of the scenes of like
Yeah.
making things feel a little more emotional and make me care about it. Like, I think she did most of that work. What about you guys? Who are some of your favorite? What do you think about the new Morpheus? And well, again,
I
without spoiling stuff.
I think
Yeah,
New Morpheus was really great, and the way that they
Okay.
handled that character was very cool.
I still don't
Yeah.
know how I feel about that, to be honest. I'm
I-
not like
I
I'm
like
not
it.
negative on it, but I'm still kind of like, I don't know.
That's how I felt the first time, and then I watched it again, and they explained what his code is,
Mm.
and I was like, oh, that's actually that explains a lot about his eccentric, suits.
Sure.
His personality being a lot
Yeah.
brighter and more salty almost.
Mhm.
That explains so much. So that worked for me. And
Okay.
this is not a spoiler because they put some of this in the trailers, and even in press releases, they called him by this name. But Jonathan Groff as Smith was so freaking delightful.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, he was
He
great.
nailed exactly what Hugo Weaving was doing in the original
Yeah,
trilogy.
yeah,
With
yeah.
all of like the chewing up all of the lines and making it sound so villainous it's cartoony. I
Yeah.
loved all that stuff.
When he
But also,
screams
he's
Mr.
a-
Anderson, I got
but he's
full
a
body chills.
faster.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, that was great. When I kind of realized what was happening, that was great. But he also delivers his lines just faster than Hugo does. Hugo punches every like consonant.
Yeah,
and
I
Right.
did miss that
Lee.
though. I did miss that.
and this was just a different take. I love him as an actor. I think in Mindhunters and all the
King
stuff I've
George,
seen.
right? King George
King
Hamilton.
George, I think
Yeah.
he's fantastic. But my favorite in terms of on that side of things is and I won't say anything else about his character, but Neil Patrick Harris I thought was
Yeah.
Freaking
phenomenal.
yes. Him and
Yeah.
Jonathan Groff are in the same
Yeah.
boat of
Wow.
like, we get what the script is,
Yeah.
I love
and
it.
we're just gonna.
And it's funny,
They
Shut
under
the
they
up.
like he understood the assignment so well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like,
He was really good.
It was
And
almost like he
we
was
had just
being
watched
like
him in 8-Bit Christmas, and so seeing him in back
Oh,
to
he's
back,
so good in that too. Yeah.
he's so great in both of those. Anyway,
just the
totally different
charisma of
roles,
like
too.
Barney Stinson a bit, right? Like he just had like this charisma on screen, like playing that particular character.
Yeah.
and just without spoilers, I do want to say that it's a movie that when you watched a trailer, like you might think you have an idea of what's going on, but like 3 minutes into the movie, I was completely like, wait, what is going on? Like,
Dude, the
3 minutes
beginning
into the movie,
disorienting,
like-
right? It was a bit disorienting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it was very disorienting.
And then at no point was I ever able to guess what was going to happen next. I was confused. This movie's not like a,
Yeah.
oh, I felt like
I don't
dumb
think it
while
leaves you
watching it.
behind. Yeah,
It
it's
never
not like
leaves you
Tenet,
behind.
where you're
You
like,
just don't know
what's going
what's
on
happening next. Like
Yeah.
the very
Yeah.
and but when the step is taken, you're like, yes.
No, they
Uh,
do a good job of actually explaining to you what's happening. It's
Yeah.
kind of like they'll
Yes,
show you
very
some
much.
confusing stuff. You're like, what? And then they'll have other characters or maybe that character at some point.
Yeah.
They'll circle back and explain what that was or who
Yeah.
that was or what's happening. So by the time it was
They don't
over, I
leave
didn't,
you confused very well. Even like the modal stuff, like they explain what
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I
is,
didn't
like
need to go Google a bunch of
instantaneously.
answers.
I
Yeah.
had to watch the beginning. Like the beginning, I watched several times already just to make sense because they go through that really fast
Yeah.
to get a character where he needs to be.
Right.
Yep.
So like that reminded me of the opening of Tenet, which is still not explained in the entire movie. Because there are like 3 different groups of people that are like have ulterior motives in the
Yeah.
opening of that movie. So you really have to watch YouTube videos to really understand what's going on in that scene.
Yeah.
I still love that movie for all of the exploring I ended up doing after it. But that's just an example of like a contrasting the two. Like Matrix Resurrections has all these big ideas and stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're leaving me behind. Whereas
No.
some of the stuff in
No.
Tenet felt like that, and I had to do research after. And I still love that movie more than most people do.
Shout out to the
Not
music,
more than
right?
me.
What'd you
Oh,
say,
the
Dan?
music was
The
so
music,
good,
dude?
despite being
Yeah.
somebody totally different this time. Yeah.
But like there's
Um,
that theme of like where it's like it's the violin and it's like rising.
Yeah.
The
and
one
then
where
it kind of like
it's when he
stops,
walks
like,
through the door in the trailer, the door made of light.
yeah,
And then the
like
big
oh
coffee
my
shop
god,
scene.
like
That song
goosebumps,
is
dude. Like
Yeah, the coffee
that-
shop scene
yeah,
at the end
that-
too.
that,
yes,
uh,
yes,
that-
yes.
But that song is like the song that Dan's talking about that permeates through the whole movie, and it's like
It
this
does.
rising, and it is so powerful. I'm
It
telling you,
is.
my second time watching this movie after like, and again, not the confusion's not the right word, but like after I kind of knew what the ride was, the emotional hint, like it really gets your claws in you the second
Yeah.
time around.
Yeah, it
Yeah, yeah.
does.
Oh, and I was kind of a mess the entire second time of the movie. It was
Yeah, I was almost getting emotional. My second time was in the theater, and it was technically opening night because it was Wednesday night that it finally was showing in theaters. And so it felt like the theater was full of people that were hyped to see a Matrix movie because every little shout out, Merovingian shows up. You hear audibly people going,
Yeah, like what?
oh, people were hyped. So I mean, it was
Yeah.
cool to be in the room for that. But like, I found myself getting a little emotional at the bigger moments just because I knew
Yeah.
they were coming and I
It was on a bigger
understood
screen.
the implications and everything more. It just, I don't.
Even the closing song is a nice throwback to the first movie, but I
It
won't
is.
say anything else about that.
That band,
yeah,
by
yeah,
the
yeah.
way, that band is the band that the lead singer pissed on somebody on stage. So that's fun.
Oh,
yeah. Those stories happened.
Okay.
Not in a great amount of time against each other.
Wow.
That's-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
not even a month ago that happened.
Yeah, it's very recent.
which is
like on
pretty much
TikTok or
exactly
something.
what Jeff just did on this conversation. Thanks, Jeff. All right, so real quick, if you had
it was
to
in the
right
movie, I
now,
guess. Somebody
and,
pees on
and you
somebody.
and you do have to because I'm going to make you
Oh.
rank them 1 through 4 real quick, top of your head. Dick.
Oh.
Go.
Jeez.
God.
Go, Dan. Dan, without any explanation, just rank them 1 through 4. Go.
Damn it. Reloaded, Resurrections, the original Matrix, and then the Revolutions.
All right, Kyle.
For me, it's the first Matrix, Reloaded, Resurrections, then 3.
Okay.
I'm caught off guard so horribly by Dan's rankings.
Jeff, go.
Yeah.
I gave you a good
I'm
example
going-
of what the right one is.
I'm
Okay,
going
all
first
right.
Matrix, Resurrections, then Reloaded, then Revolutions.
I like
Ah.
that. All right.
That's mine exactly. First movie,
Yeah.
fourth movie, and then second
Listen,
and third.
I get it. People
Wow.
want to just always pick the first one and say the second two, second and third suck. But I mean, I don't think there's enough.
I don't think the second and third.
I
suck.
ranked 2 second.
I
Yeah.
love the first one, of course. I just don't think
Yeah.
there's enough there that they gave me in 2 that I love about 2.
That's
like,
fair.
I don't know.
lobby scene.
Fair.
Yes.
There you
yeah.
go. If you guys
Well,
have
to
not
be
watched
fair,
The
yeah.
Matrix yet, you'll be able to. I think it's probably going to be on HBO Max through the end of January. Isn't that how they do it?
Yeah, they do a full 30 days. So like,
or
yeah, end of January is
mid-January.
right.
The end of January, mid-January, something like that.
Yeah,
so
I've
go
already
check
taken
it out.
advantage of that. I know Kyle's seen it multiple times. I've seen it like
I've
2 more
seen
times.
I've seen it 5 times now, all the way through.
Yeah,
Nice. Wow.
Huge fan.
you just
5
can't help it, dude.
times.
Once you start
5
the movie,
times.
it's hard to stop because the pacing is just so.
It's 2.5 hours. It's the quickest 2.5 hours I think I've ever experienced in a movie.
Yeah.
To be
I-
honest.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't get the people that aren't liking it. I don't. I just.
And Keanu Reeves continues to be breathtaking in everything he does. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
All right, so a couple other things that we're watching. I saw that someone finished up the Wheel of Time. Overall thoughts on season 1?
I thought it was really great. There's a lot of people that were poo-pooing on it that were book readers. I'm not a book reader. I don't believe in books.
I'm so glad I didn't read these books.
Yeah,
oh my god, you guys seem so angry. You
No,
are
oh my
so
God.
mad. Y'all are
Nobody
so
caught
mad.
that. Jeff, did they have a spoon for that poo-poo? Or
They did a knife, you mean?
Or
Yeah,
a
maybe
spoon,
cut up the
in this
poo-poo and
case.
maybe you'll feel a little less sour about it. All right, see you, Dan.
Bye, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it, and somebody was like throwing a fit about something so trivial with the show, and the show answers that problem that he had in the next episode. So I'm trying to avoid dancing around it. So I'm like, if you would have waited, he would have not sounded like a freaking buffoon with your rant.
And I think a lot of folks do that where they'll take, it's like, here's the whole season. You got this whole plan right here, and we're going to judge the whole season based on this, not even chunky slice, just this slice that's over here. And so I get that. That's an unfair, because the finale just came online this past weekend, right?
It did,
Friday,
on Friday. Yeah, it was a finale that felt extremely high budget. It definitely had an ending battle of not ending battle, but a big battle of sorts that didn't feel cheap at all. Like it felt like Amazon threw a lot of money at it. It looked really good and had a great cliffhanger from several characters' perspectives. Like,
nice.
Yeah, I'm really into this world, man. I know Kyle's more big into world building stuff than I am. But I mean, I'm enjoying it. Obviously, I still love it. But I know you like the lore and the language usage and stuff.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job in this show, even more than The Witcher, which The Witcher sometimes they'll just like throw out like a surprise birth, surprise child, or whatever, like they just throw out terms and you're like, I don't even know what that means.
The law of surprise?
Law of surprise, child. No. Anyways, or the convergence, which I know what all these terms are because I'm a big nerd, but like they use it in those shows and they don't really explain what they mean. In this show, they use them in context so often and so constantly that like exactly what all these terms mean, and I feel like they like give you people's names and like their races and stuff. Like I don't know, I'm catching on to things a lot easier than some other shows that just kind of like throw jargon at you. And it's good. Sometimes I think the show goes a little too quick and a little too slow at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas like there's times where I'm like, we're still in this city. This is kind of crazy. And there's other times I'm like, we're rushing towards the boss battle right now. What's happening?
Yeah.
But like outside of that, I think the show is doing really well. And I'm sorry if you read the books. Again, y'all seem very angry. So sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
Same
sorry
thing with the
if you
people
read
that watch the Witcher series and read the books. They feel the same about that show too.
Angry people there too. Yeah. Something happened with a certain character from the season of The Witcher, which like did not happen in the books, and people rioted. They're like, we want this showrunner out of here.
Almost like they've never heard of an adaptation before. It's like at this point, don't we all understand how they do this? This is just how it works, man.
Well, no, everything must die on the altar of Cowboy Bebop.
I mean, it's possible.
It all must go.
It's possible to read all the books of something. Like I did read all the Game of Thrones books.
Yeah.
Watched all the Game of Thrones seasons, or at least most of them. I think I've seen all of them. Anyway, and I didn't love the way that the show decided to, once they stopped going like chapter by chapter with the books, once they ran out of book material, I didn't love the way that the show just had a different feeling. It felt like a different showrunner almost. It just kind of took a different path, but I still enjoyed what they were doing for the, like, okay, this is their thing now. This is their story now.
Yeah,
and hey, at some point in the future, I am still hopeful for more Game of Thrones books because I'm very excited to read, quote unquote, the real thing. Or honestly, the stories that I fell in love with in the first place. Like I love the books so much.
I have a theory. He's already written everything. He's just waiting until he dies so he doesn't have to deal with backlash.
Give a strong Belwaz.
That's a pretty strong theory. I like that actually. I like that theory.
It's pretty genius. Like,
he's released a lot of chapters over the years, like teaser chapters here and there. He's released a lot of those. It's just I'm like,
it's gonna be a Frank Herbert thing where he dies and his biggest fan or whatever is gonna take all of his notes and
or the Wheel of Time thing,
or the Wheel of Time the same way that it ended.
Yeah, who knows? Well, listen, I've been catching up on a lot of Marvel stuff.
Oh, really?
Getting ready for, I guess Eternals comes out on Disney Plus in January. That's cool. I'll be able to catch up on that one. Just finished Shang-Chi this weekend because I also caught up on, what was I behind on? Let's see. Oh, Black Widow. I watched that one. It was fun.
Oh, cool.
It's a good movie. I mean, it's right in that middle tier of all the Marvel movies.
It is.
Right.
I liked it better than
think
stuff like Captain Marvel, but it's not
No,
gonna
yeah, me
hit like
too.
Winter Soldier level. You know what I mean?
Like I think the biggest weakness in Black Widow was like she never felt at risk and it felt like a side story the entire time. But Florence Pugh kind of saved that movie for me. Like
Yeah, same here.
like she was
Great,
just
but
so
I gotta be
good
honest,
as
Rachel
Yelena.
Weisz and David Harbour were also fantastic.
They were the big ones for me.
Yeah.
And
I
he
love
was just
David
stealing
Harbour.
this. Yeah, David Harbour stole every scene in that.
Oh, that's
entire
true.
movie,
Yeah, he's
He
the
was-
wannabe dad. Yeah.
And he kept talking trash about Captain America from their fight in the 80s, and everyone's
love
like, he
it.
was still frozen,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Love it. Love it so much.
What'd you think of Shang-Chi?
Amazing, fantastic fight scenes, and just
Yeah.
a totally
Yeah.
different feeling Marvel movie. It's exactly what I think this new phase needs, and we've already
Yeah.
gotten some of it. And I feel like I've heard Eternals also has a very different feel to it. And sometimes
does.
people, it doesn't. Maybe they don't nail it with this first Eternals movie. I'm hopeful that they'll get there. I hope they
Yeah.
don't give up on that series. But anyway, I love when we
They
get
better
those
not. They got
shifts.
cliffhangers for days
Like,
in
I
that
feel
movie.
like
So.
I feel like the Marvel universe had a shift with Guardians of the Galaxy, and now I feel like they're shifting again with stuff like Shang-Chi. So I hope that we
Mhm.
keep seeing these. And I love these turns. I love where it's like, oh, all the movies are like Iron Man and Thor. Got it. Oh, never mind. We got Guardians of the Galaxy. What is this wacky 80s soundtrack nuts? Like, what is this? This is
Yeah.
silly. And Thor Ragnarok kind of maintained that direction a little bit.
Mhm.
And so anyway, I like that the Marvel universe is not afraid to experiment a little bit, because it'd be very easy for them to just keep churning out the same thing. And
Yeah.
I'm glad. And then people who don't watch them, of course, from the outside, they feel really pretentious and like they know everything. They're like, it's just the same. I'm like, it's really, truly not. Some of them are. Like, you could look at Black Widow and say, all right, this one doesn't really break the mold. It's
Mhm.
solid, but it doesn't break the mold. But you couldn't watch Shang-Chi or Guardians or Thor Ragnarok and say that isn't totally unique, because it
Yeah.
is.
You can look at you can even look at Falcon and Winter Soldier and say, oh, this is Marvel. This is what
Right.
we know Marvel to be.
But not Loki.
Yeah,
You know,
Loki is nothing like
or-
what Marvel's
or
done.
Wanda.
What
Oh my
if?
god, yeah.
Yeah, What If is nothing like that.
WandaVision, yeah.
Hawkeye
Okay, so
is more in line with it.
I haven't watched Hawkeye yet, and I do want to watch it. That's coming up next, because I think that's the only thing other than Eternals.
It's
I
really
haven't
good, by the
seen
way.
yet.
It picks up, and it did wrap up already, so it does
Yeah, so
pick up.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
But I did finally, and I didn't think it was that important, but I think it's going to be after seeing the Doctor Strange 2 trailer. I did watch What If all the way through. I'd only watched like 2 of those episodes before, the animated Marvel What If
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't love every episode. Like, some of it kind of had me going like, all right, I don't know if I want to watch 30 minutes of this particular thing. But it was creative, and it was really dark, like super dark. At first I thought, oh,
Dude.
my kids might like this. And then as I'm watching it, I'm like, no, they wouldn't. Nope,
No.
they wouldn't like that.
Me and Kyle were like, I can't believe they're airing like 3 depressing episodes back to back like this. This is so crazy. Like, it was like just main characters dying one after
You
another.
had to throw in that like part like frat boy Thor
then they
episode,
threw in
just
the
to like
Thor
break,
frat
just to
boy, and
break
I
up
was
the
like, all right,
depression.
thank you. Jeez.
Yeah, but then you get to the final 2 episodes, and it becomes like a Dragon Ball Z
Yeah.
matchup where you've got these crazy universe breaking and bending battles that are happening,
Yeah.
including characters you wouldn't expect. And then it really creates a truly terrifying villain that kind of goes across all the What If episodes that you wouldn't have thought. I don't know. I thought they did a really cool job at the end of making me feel like, uh-oh, I hope they figure this out, because this could mess up the movies. Like, I know that's stupid, but like, they created some weight to the end of
did.
that series.
Yeah,
And
they did. Yeah.
I
And
thought it
that's
was
that moment in the Doctor Strange teaser in the theaters, because that was the post-credit scene in No Way Home. When you see the pale face of Strange Supreme or whatever, I'm like, oh, is What If canon for real? Like, is
I almost had to get convinced from so many people, because I was in disbelief. I was like, there's no way they're gonna recognize What If, I guess, canon.
I
Yeah,
think they are.
That's what's happening. That's
think
what's
that's
literally
exactly
happening right now. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to watching Hawkeye. I love what they're doing with Marvel. I don't think every single thing they've done is a home run, but I'm still like, that's okay. Every once in a while, you knock one out of the park, and the rest aren't bad. So let's do it. Keep going.
Even Eternals, which I didn't really. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
It still had like an hour and a half worth of stuff that was like really cool, and I can definitively say that it was a big swing. It was not like typical Marvel, even if it wasn't all great. You can still tell that was like something distinct about it that felt very different.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Anything else you guys are watching before we talk about some games?
I just want to throw out some love for Licorice Pizza. I just watched that. That stars Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, Cooper, and Alana Haim, who's in the band Haim with her sisters. And so this is their first time on camera. And Alana Haim feels like she's been doing this forever. She's hilarious in the movie. But I also wanted to shout out Bradley Cooper in the movie. He's in it for 5 minutes and steals the whole damn thing. He's so funny in it. He's like a coked out version of his Wedding Crashers character, who's just a womanizer. And like there's a scene where like Alana's character is like sitting on the curb and she's just like kind of like moping and not really reacting to anything that's going on around her. And Bradley Cooper just comes in the frame and just starts shattering glass behind her. And he's just angry for no reason because that's his character. So he's like, oh, stupid. And he runs off. And then these two ladies walk by and he comes back in the frame to hit on them. It's so funny. You guys like peanut butter jam sandwiches? It's so funny, dude.
But even the name Licorice Pizza, that sounds so disgusting. I don't know if I'm
awful. Yeah.
Apparently, it's a slang term back then for a vinyl. Which I didn't know. I thought it was the fact that licorice on pizza sounds disgusting, and that's the central relationship just doesn't mesh or something. But no, apparently it's like a throwback term.
Oh, okay.
It's really good though. It's definitely Paul Thomas Anderson's one of his more accessible like comedies.
Okay.
Like Boogie Nights accessible. It's really fun.
All right, well, according to the list that we've got here, we are playing a wide variety of games. Nothing super new, although Inscription, I don't think we've gotten any feedback on yet. So I'm curious to hear what you think about that one. For me, in general, my gaming has been, a little bit of Forza here and there to maybe try to get some points for each season when I get a chance. Yeah. Playing more Ruined King. That story's really interesting, but I've been more watching stuff. Also, I mean, my kids have been home and my mother-in-law's here, and it's been very demanding, just of time. So I haven't had as much time to do a lot of gaming, but played a little bit more Halo Infinite. I think I'm at the point now where it's like, I forget what mission number it is, but I can tell based on what others have said. If I start this mission, I'm hitting the end game. So I'm trying to decide, like, am I done? I think I might be done. Like, I think I'm good. I think I've spent a good, 13 hours in this game, 14. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what the total is, and I feel like I'm good to wrap it up. But I'm just at that turning point where I have to.
Are you at that stage where after every mission finishes, there's like something happens and you have to go right to that new thing? Because that's where I'm at.
That should be the last few missions then.
Yeah. So I'm at the last 4 missions, and
I haven't had that
trigger
yet.
I think something major happens
once you trigger that, then you can't really do the open.
Yeah, there's no more open world. Yeah.
No, I'm before. I haven't had that trigger yet. So.
Oh, okay. So you might be doing the sequence stuff then, where it's like you have to find 4.
That's exactly. I just finished doing.
So I would do all the open world stuff before you go to the final one. Yeah.
I think I'm at the last sequence thing, and I've just been doing like trying to find armor sets and cores and freeing other Marines. I'm just doing all the extra fun stuff on the map, taking fobs and all that. I think I kind of like. Still. I think I'm at the point where I'm like, I get this game and I adore it. It's going to be high on my list. I don't know if I need to keep doing these things. I think it's time for me to go. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, I finished up all the side mission stuff. Every single thing on the map is cleared out for me, and I am at the part where like every time I finish a section of a mission, there's a cutscene and that something huge happens and you have to go after them. So I know I'm near the end game currently. So I'm enjoying it. Not much more to add other than this is definitely up there as one of the best games of the year for sure.
Yeah, my time with it, I keep on going back to the multiplayer, which was so surprising to me. Wow! I have a crew that keep on playing with them. We jumped on Christmas Day yesterday. A lot of noobs playing yesterday. Felt really good.
Yep.
Nice!
Killing all these people who just got the game that morning, just stomping kids. It was awesome.
You just ruined so many Christmas days for kids.
Good.
Good for you.
It felt really good. I think we won like 20 matches in a row, and then we lost one. And I go, okay, I'm done. Got really sour about it. That was really cool, though. I really like. I have a feeling that multiplayer is gonna have a lot of legs. I think that like some point we're gonna get Forge, and then that we're gonna start getting all that community created stuff coming on. We're gonna get Infection mode soon, which is like someone starts off as a sword, everybody else starts off as guns. Sword guy kills a gun guy, they become a sword guy. Last person standing wins, pretty much. There's going to be a lot of really cool modes, and I think they're going to keep on piecemealing it out. I think we're going to be playing this game for a long time. And even for me, who like I don't play weekly or nightly or anything like that, every time I do check back in, like, Fiesta mode is back or some new mode. So like I feel like there's always something new for me to do every time I chime in. and I'm playing once every couple weeks. I'm not, I'm level 10. I'm not like dedicating a lot of time to it, but
Gotcha.
having a good time all the same.
Yep. Anything else you guys are playing?
Kyle and I did 2 or 3 more chapters of It Takes Two. We only have 2 left. So I think our next session will be It.
Yeah, I have a new song for us to sing too. It takes two to make a thing go right. It takes two.
Oh, there we go.
How have we not sang that song?
How have we not sang
the
that?
other one? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That game really makes me goofy. I love that game a lot.
Yeah,
I think
and I love that each level is like a different mechanic introduced. Like we did the snow globe level where you each get a magnet that's a different color.
Yeah.
And the rules of magnets apparently apply where the same color either attracts, or is it the other way around?
Opposites attract.
Opposites attract.
Yeah, repel.
So certain puzzles, only your magnet works for them, and the other person has to kind of wait there while you plot a line for them so they can get up there and join you. It's much like their other levels, but it's just they create a new mechanic each level. One of them was the most fun level we had, which was the castle one, where it just straight up turns into an action game, and he meleeed and I did magic stuff.
Yeah, it turned into a gauntlet game. Like for
awesome.
a solid 20 or 30 minutes, it was a gauntlet game.
That's so fun.
It's so great. There was a whole section where he and I were just screaming the entire time too.
Might have been the time one, because that time one was like the clock's going faster, now it's going backwards. And the hands of a clock are like trying to catch you, and if you hit it once, you die. It's not like a little bit of your health goes down.
Well, man, that game is just really clever. I can't.
So
believe.
is the game working? Is it going to help you guys not get divorced like you're planning? Is it going to help
these parents are like have a lawyer on speed. Like the second they get out of here, they're calling the lawyer for sure. There's a whole section, and I won't spoil it because I feel like it's good. But there's a whole section where I go, I don't feel good about everything we're doing in this game in regards to how it affects.
Is that the
their
one when
daughter.
you're trying to make the daughter cry? You told us
yes,
that.
But the links that you go to do this is so horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt dirty.
And even the characters start saying it evenally. The characters go, I don't feel good about this at all.
I don't feel good about this anymore. Yeah, I don't either, bud. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
but hey, Kyle,
really
are you playing? Kyle, are you playing Kana?
Yeah, I played a little more of Kana. I'm like maybe an hour and a half in. I'm enjoying it. I like it quite a bit. I'm at the end of the year blues where like nothing. Played a little bit of Far Cry. Played a little bit of Kana. I keep on kind of jumping around to everything and just being like, what's grabbing me right now?
It's the game. Yeah.
It's I'm watching like you are more than I am playing.
With Kana, as I keep looking back on, I really loved that game, but it did have very much a like licensed platformer vibe to it, kind of like when they used to make a game for every cartoon epic movie that would come out, like Kung Fu Panda or something. It kind of had that vibe to it where it wasn't quite up to par with the best of the best 3D action adventure open world or open area games, but it was still really good, and it kind of just had that vibe to it. But I hope if you do keep playing, I think you will enjoy it. I think the story is very sweet, and of course the visuals are good.
Yeah, it's really good. And these games are really easy to jump. Like even Far Cry, like these games are really easy to like. I dove right back in, and I was like, oh okay, yeah, I know what's going on here.
Yeah, Far Cry especially has that. Yeah.
And Kana too. Like there's just something about like if I forget anything, it's just how to use those dumb little rot things. And then
that does get more complex as you go. So you'll get to a certain point where the combat takes a pretty steep difficulty spike, and it's like, oh,
I may not want to take a break after that.
Okay, all right. Like I had a couple of fights where I had to like roll up the sleeves, like, okay, we're doing this. All right, got it. Like there's a couple of those moments here and there, but yeah, I liked that game a lot. Jeff, what about you? Anything else?
Yeah, I finished up the Gunk and Solar Ash. I just like saying the Gunk.
You recommend both?
The Gunk ends up having like a kind of a cool story about the planet you're on. And the puzzles remind me of Kana, where like each room kind of has a different thing you have to have a different approach for it.
And you're clearing out the corruption.
Yeah, you're clearing out the Gunk first, and then you're like, okay, it's still not, the room's not, bright again. What else do I have to do? And you'll see some like the buds or whatever. I don't know what you call it, plant life that will help you move things along, and you kind of have to figure out how to dislodge that plant life to help you out. Yeah, so the puzzles are interesting. It's like a 4-hour game. There's not much to it. There are boss battles, but a lot of it's just evading until you can get behind them and then suck them real good.
Yeah.
Solar Ash is the cool one though. That's the one that's like every boss fight just left me in awe of. You're doing what you would do in Shadow of the Colossus basically, but you're doing like skating on their backs and stuff. It's like a speed run version of taking down a Colossus.
Yeah,
It's
instead
real
of like
cool.
holding on and watching your grip meter slowly go down, you're skiing on them.
So like a
Yeah.
locomotion
Pretty
game,
much.
right? Like you're always kind of building speed and.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
constantly building momentum each hit, and you have a boost as well. You want to use diligently, especially because the more that you have like 3 hits you have to take each boss, and if you're on the last hit, they have way less of a shield that you can navigate on. So you have to mind your boost, jump at the right time, or you'll fall off. It happened often for me, and I would get really frustrated and just be like, "All right, I guess I'm coming back to this game later." Like it happened a lot for me. But it's a really great game. It's cool,
Yeah.
and I think the gameplay is more the star than the story. The story is kind of like it just leaves you behind. Like I'm like it just throws its jargon at you, expects you to just get it, and you're like, I'm not gonna read every single artifact in this game. I got stuff to do, guys.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
was more obsessed with collecting things, like all the suits. I got those, and just traveling around, dude. Because the traveling is rewarding. Like it's cool to get all that loot. It's not a lot of loot, but it's some. It's enough for like a 5-6 hour game. So, yeah, it's really good though. It's not in my like top 10 or anything, but it's like right beneath it. It's like a game I really like for sure.
Yeah. I've still got it installed. I plan on playing it some more. It's like the exact timing and feel that I had last year playing Pathless, where it was like, this is just a fun game, and I know it's a small chunk of a game to get through,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna finish it. It's just a matter of when. But
When you get to the different open areas, I think it might click for you a little more because it did
Yeah, I
for
think it
me.
might.
Where I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, look how open this is. There's so much to do here.
I just have to have time. I think my goal is to finish Halo Infinite. My son, my 14-year-old, wants to play It Takes Two, so we've both got that downloaded. We're gonna try that a little
Nice.
bit.
Gonna get another convert.
Hopefully we get a chance to play a little bit before we get to. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't. Sometime in the next like 3 weeks or however long it's going to take us to get to our talk about best game or whatever. Some of those bigger awards for us.
Yeah.
I think I'll be able to play at least a little bit of it. But yeah, this week has been fun. Lots of watching stuff and still battling sickness. We've got
sound way better.
We've got an upper respiratory infection that's gone through everybody,
Nice.
and it's hit everyone a little bit differently.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, they did some rapid COVID tests, but listen, with the way that the variants work and all that, it's possible it was one of the variants of COVID. It just didn't have it didn't check a lot of the boxes.
Yeah.
But it could have been. All we know, it was very upper respiratory focused, and it hit all of us in different ways, including the babies. Those are the roughest ones. So a few of them are still battling it. For me, it's like a lingering tickle and a lingering cough, but otherwise I finally feel good. It took about a week and a half for me to like feel normal again. Like
that's good.
It was pretty rough.
Well, I was gonna say about the newer variant has like less of a chance to creep its way into the lungs. Apparently, it's like a weaker variant, and it ends up affecting people in the upper respiratory area. Yeah, it's most
weird.
of all.
We various doctor visits and all kinds of tests and stuff.
Yeah.
And so for my wife, they're like, this looks like a sinus infection, but it's probably just part of that same strain that the rest of the family has. And for me, they told me it looks like strep throat or laryngitis, but it's a little bit different. So, and for everyone that had a
just
different
kind of mutated host to host.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my kids, he looks like he's finally clearing up, but he looked like he had pink eye. I'm just like, it's just a crazy.
I've had that before. Yeah.
It's a crazy virus that's just kind of.
I had that before where you're so congested and up here and like something happens with your eye where it just gets
your eye
up,
gets
like,
all
immediately.
gunky and crusty.
Yeah, it's so disgusting.
Yeah, it's rough, man. And then for my daughter, it's just been cough, cough, cough. Like not much else. No fever of any kind. She's been a little congested, but she just can't stop coughing. So for her, anyway, for all of it's a little bit different. It did make for a less fun kind of Christmas weekend, but overall, we're gonna be fine. Like, and I think we're all on the upswing at least, So anyway, there's that. And there's not a ton of headlines. Just to kind of summarize a few of them before we close things out. There are
I wanted to
a lot of sales.
I had to touch on Inscription because
yeah.
A couple people listed that as like their game of the year, and I was like, there's no effing way because it's a card game. Right. And card games are stupid, in my opinion.
That's right. I got to go download the demo now before I forget. Keep going.
Yes, there is a demo, and I guess it's long because I already died the first time, and it's a roguelike, so you'll come back as somebody else and start a new round. And they'll introduce like a new card mechanic each round, which is kind of cool. Normally I kind of go, card games, just make cards real life. Jeez. But this one is interesting enough where you're kind of facing somebody who you only see their eyes and it's kind of creepy. And the cards themselves are just like forest animals, and some of them are like squirrels are like pawns basically. You put them there to either sacrifice for a stronger animal yourself, or you put them in the way of somebody's attack. But yeah, each animal has like a different perk of sorts, or a different like attack strength or health strength, and then they add modifiers each round that make things a little more complex. And it's actually kind of fun. It makes me feel really smart when I actually win a round. I'm like,
That's
got
awesome.
you, yes. It feels really smart but I died like after 4 games, I think, because it does get really tough. Like some of the cards are just impossible.
Yeah.
Because some animals you have to get a sacrifice for to put them on the board, and if you don't have any sacrificial squirrels or anything, how are you going to play those animals? Like, so you just end up screwing yourself and you die immediately.
It sounds a little bit like Magic. So my son is getting really into the Magic card game, Magic the Gathering, and so he's got a whole bunch of those cards. So he was teaching me how to play yesterday afternoon. I was trying to do the dad thing where I was like, all right, I'm going to help you build your racetrack. I'm going to help you set up your stuffed animals. I'm going to play your card Magic game with you. I was trying to do each of the things. I'm going to put
nice.
batteries into your thing. So we played a round of Magic. He just destroyed me, and I was like, could you teach me before you make me feel horrible? But anyway, it's similar in that to play your creatures and do your actual moves. I don't know if you guys have ever played this before.
No,
you
I haven't.
You have to have played these lands, which give you the mana that it's required to make the attacks happen. And my deck, for whatever reason, the way it was shuffled, the lands were all towards the middle or bottom, and so I had nothing. And so I'm just sitting there getting attacked, and I could do nothing. And I was like, well,
God, this sucks.
This is where
Yeah.
I love card games, and I love the designs, and I love the creativity, but then I'm like, the luck aspect, or I guess the bad luck aspect in some cases, it just drives me nuts sometimes, because I'm like, I didn't do anything. My cards just didn't give me the stuff I don't know. Some of that stuff bothers me with card games, but it is what it is.
Apparently, this game Inscription has 3 acts, and each act, the gameplay apparently, or the perspective changes. I don't know in what way, because obviously I haven't gotten that far. It's just a demo. So for now, it's just a demo. I might buy it later if I actually do get hooked to it. But I find that to be fascinating. Like, why would it need to change? There must be a story going on that I'm just not as aware of yet, because it's just a demo.
Gotcha.
And that's interesting.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, it is kind of interesting that this has been picked as, the
I can't remember who picked it, but
game of the
somebody
year.
did pick it as game.
I was reading an article where the Naughty Dog devs all listed there. I thought that was a cool article where you got to read some of the main devs at Naughty Dog, some of their favorite games of the year. Wide variety of stuff, everything from Metroid Dread to It Takes Two to Returnal to
Druckmann loved Loop Hero.
Loop Hero, yep.
He was like, I've never played a game like that, and I was like, yeah, no game
by the
like
way,
that exists.
I love Loop Hero too. I concur. Yeah. It's a silly, fun little, very old school looking game. I recommend it if you haven't played it. All right, so let's wrap things up with just a couple of headlines. If nothing else, it's more of just a reminder. If you're listening to this, you've got, in most cases, at least a week, or at least 5 days to go check out some sales across all kinds of platforms. Steam has their big winter sale now. Tons of games for sale on Steam. Go check that out. Epic, I think their 15 days is over after today, or it might be over New Year's. But anyway, Epic's been giving away a free game a day for a little. I think they're going till New Year's now that I'm thinking about it, because I think they started on the 15th and I think they go till the 30th.
And they're not slouches, these games. It's like Prey is up there, Vampire, Vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gave away Control. They've given away some really interesting ones. And then of course some smaller ones too. But anyway, if you don't have an Epic Games account, there's no reason not to. It's free. You create one, and even if you don't have a PC but think you might have one someday, just log into your account and claim the free game. Even after the sale is over, after the special, they do a free game every Thursday. They update a new free game for you. So anyway, go check that out if you haven't. Of course, GOG, which is CD Projekt Red's platform, they always have major sales. PlayStation has a big sale. It was funny. My mother-in-law was sitting on the recliner. She was kind of doing her own thing, and I was sitting there using the TV, looking through the PlayStation sales, and I could tell she had kind of looked up. And I was looking at it. She goes, "What are all those?" And I was like, "Those are all just games that are on sale." How do you know they're on sale? Well, it just says at the top, like holiday sale. So she kept asking me all these detailed questions, and I was like, I'm not going to buy any of these right now, so it's fine. You don't have to understand it. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't affect your life at all. Don't worry about it.
yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
I'll change the channel to what do they watch? I don't know. Family Feud eventually.
And actually, she's a huge fan of the Lifetime style holiday special.
Oh, of course, naturally.
Plenty of those.
The Hallmark holiday movies. She loves those.
Yeah.
Netflix even specifically creates those. They specifically
They do.
they make those brand new ones just so every year there's. I mean, they know what they're doing because it works. I from what I've heard, those actually get a lot of.
They made one like 2 or 3 years ago called Klaus, which I still love.
Dude, that movie's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is like supposed to be a Hallmark movie, kind of, and it's
cartoon.
It's so much better than that. Yeah, yes, it is, but it's like you kind of get a sense that whenever a new Christmas movie comes out, you're like, whatever. This is just cashing in on whatever. But there's like artistry in that movie. It's a really good movie.
That movie is amazing. We love that one. My kids always like to do that rap randomly throughout the year, just like that's what you get when you mess with the postman. They love that. They love that thing. He's like walking all like he's tough. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if there's anything else that I missed, feel free to highlight it before we sign off. How are you guys doing? You good?
Yeah.
Great. I just wanted to shout out the Uncharted trailer that just came out, and Sully has a mustache in it, so it's okay, guys. The movie's gonna be good now.
I guess. Yeah.
I honestly, I
makes
still
a-
feel
he
like
makes
that's got to
makes
be
a
the end of the
puberty
movie. That's
joke.
the end of the movie,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know.
That's got to be.
We're gonna see a Mark Wallstash. Can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
care about that movie at all. So
No, me neither.
Neither do I. That way, when it comes out, if it happens, like I say with a lot of movies that I'm like, oh, I assume that's going to be horrible. And then if it comes out and I like it, then I'm like, hey,
Morbius looks terrible.
it looks really bad. But if it ends up being good, great. Like
Yeah.
I actually thought, I really did not think I would like Black Widow even a little bit. Like I thought it kind of looked like a pretty by the numbers. Oh, you were trying to be like Winter Soldier, like secret spy stuff, and now it's in Russia. Turns out it was actually its own thing, and they did a really good job, and I enjoyed it a lot. Even though it's not a great movie, but I was like, wow, that's fun. I really liked that.
That was a fun movie.
So when your expectations are in the right spot, you might enjoy something. Just saying.
That's me with Candyman too. I was like not in the mood to see that movie, and then it blew me away.
There you go. There you go.
it happens.
Well, listen, guys, thanks for joining in. This is it for 2021. We'll talk to you.
Oh man, R.I.P.
year.
2021 pouring out.
And next week begins our Game of the Year debates. So hopefully my voice is ready to go then, because I have a lot of opinions to shoot down and to scream across the airwaves here. So
It's my favorite way to get points across.
it's just the best way. Wrong.
No.
So we're not. I don't think we're starting with huge subjects for our first debate episode or whatever.
Correct.
So I think we're still going to have time to catch up.
We'll have some time to do some catching
Yeah.
up. So, all right. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank
See ya.
you.
Yep.
Happy New Year.
Take care. Happy New Year.